Tampa Bay Bucs Super Bowl 55 champ Shaq Barrett coming at you live for NSPN Next Gen Sports. Go like and follow NSPN for total coverage of all team and combat sports, live shows, plus exclusive player interviews and unprecedented sports content creation.
Aren't you loving life in Tampa Bay? Nothing like being defending Super Bowl champs, Stanley Cup champions, American League champions. This is Outkick. Join me every Sunday morning at 10. Let's talk our teams in the hottest sports market in the country. Never too early to talk Buccaneers or check in on all the teams in Tampa Bay. It will be your best hour of sports. The Outkick Show, powered by Guerrilla Marketing. Sunday mornings at 10 on 102.5 The Bone. Sports media has evolved. Introducing NSPN Next Gen Sports, your number one source for all team and combat sports. Live shows, breaking news, esports tournaments, and interactive sports content like never before. Like and follow NSPN on our Facebook page for your chance at this month's fan giveaway contest. And tune in every Sunday at noon for exclusive video access to my Outkick Show interview. NSPN Next Gen Sports. Outkick here. I have to tell you about my amazing pampered experience at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. First of all, I love what she did with my hair, but it's the entire experience that truly sets her apart. You walk in and chances are she's playing your favorite music because she cares. She pours you your favorite adult beverage because she cares. It's gone from haircut to a truly relaxing time, only at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. Haircuts, men and women, full spa treatments, hair color. Get it all with Daniela. Check her out on Instagram at Daniela LaCorey or book her on the Booksy app at ladybarberdaniela.booksy.com. Tell her Outkick sent you and get $10 off your first service, plus neck and shoulder massage. Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. Outkick here for my friends at Family Lawn, Pest, Handyman, and Housekeeping. I'm all about saving money and saving time, especially when it comes to maintaining my home. These people are 4-in-1. One provider for my lawn, pest, handyman, and housekeeping. I don't have to call 4 different companies, receive 4 different estimates, have 4 different strangers come into my home and write 4 different checks. I simply call Roger and Paula at Family Lawn and Pest. Sign up for a year and leave the honeydews to them. Get a free estimate. Call 813-526-8111. That's 813-526-8111. Tell them Outkick sent you and get $250 off your first year or 20% off your first month. It's Family Lawn and Pest and so much more. Medical marijuana made easy. See if you pre-qualify for your Florida medical marijuana card free of charge, 100% risk, obligation, and judgment-free with Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. You're talking Tampa Bay's #1 choice for compassionate care with business professionals. Discreetly begin your road to relief by dialing 813-358-CARD or visit www.mycannabiscard.com. That's 813-358-2273. And make sure to tell them that Outkick sent you for $30 off new patient enrollment. Ask about military and senior discounts. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. With uncertainty at an all-time high, securing what matters most has never been more important for your home or your office. Prevent disaster and make life easier. Try a security and home automation system from Alarm Engineers, Inc., Tampa's trusted leader for more than 30 years. State-of-the-art security systems, award-winning monitoring, and now full-spectrum smart home solutions. Alarm Engineers, Inc. has everything your home and office could possibly need and will work with any budget. Book a free security or smart home consultation today. Call 813-948-4000. That's 813-948-4000. And get your first month free by telling them Al Keck sent you. Alarm Engineers, Inc.
Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
So we're live here at Ducky's in Tampa.
In Tampa.
Can I get a Tampa Bay? Can we get Tampa? Tampa! Tampa! There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Again,
does that feel good?
It does. It feels good to be the maestro of the show.
Really? So you feel like maestro, like Beethoven?
I feel like it. Yeah, sometimes I do. Try to direct everybody around. Yeah.
Oh, so you're trying to be a commentary quarterback then?
I'm trying to be. I'm what am I, an armchair quarterback right now?
And he's good at it.
I try. Again, 13-0 Tampa Bay here, mid-second quarter. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition, a Victory Monday edition of the Sports Web, live on NSPN, and of course, I love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off the evolution of sports talk television? And I get it. It's Monday, even though it's a Victory Monday. People will say to you, a preseason doesn't count, but we got to get it in here on a Victory Monday, right? When people say that to you, this is what you got to do.
Shut up!
Because it is Victory Monday after the Bucs take care of the Houston Texans 23-16. So how do we start off the show? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense on tonight's Sports Web edition on the Next Gen Sports Media Network. And of course, I love St. Pete. We'll have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. And at 9:30, and that's not always sharp, depending on the comments and the questions and how the flow of the show goes, we will have J.C. Allen of the Pewter Report. So without further ado, he's on time. So let's get him on, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. And a Victory Monday, and I get it. It's only a preseason game, but I think there's a lot of Bucs fans out there going, whoosh. Welcome to the evolution here on a Monday. How you doing, buddy?
Another day in paradise on the right side of the grass, Peter. How about you?
Sounds good. Absolutely. I'm doing great. There's always a great opportunity here to talk sports, talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's go back to that game. 23-16 Bucs over the Texans, and all eyes on Saturday night were on this first team unit, and it didn't necessarily start out so well in that first series of 3-and-out, but then after that, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, 10 straight completions. Your thoughts?
Well, you know what, Peter? I was happy to see it, but I was not happy to see how they did it with the hurry up, because I'm a little concerned that they haven't had enough game time yet. And again, I don't know what the answer is. You got 3 preseason games. You want to get through it without getting anybody hurt, which they did. All the major cogs are in place. but I'm still a little leery about, did they get enough actual game experience to be ready for the Cowboys on Thursday night? Because, Peter, let's be honest, the Texans are not a good football team.
No.
And it showed. And think about it now. They stopped the Bucs 3-and-out in the first series, and they took about a 9-minute drive, which should have resulted in a field goal. I had no idea why they didn't trust their field goal kicker, but it's hard to judge what's going on. My concern is going to be, Peter, on Thursday night, if it's a 21-20 game and it gets to 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, will these guys have anything left in the tank? Because they haven't got there. And it's just something, Peter, we're going to have to live with the COVID and all that.
Yeah, I agree. And BA said, I thought it was a great run pass. The first drive was a no huddle and something we've been wanting to get into and get going. Tom did a great job. Great protection. Guys were there. They were where they were supposed to be. And then Ronald Jones started running really well, and it was another really good drive of mixing it up. They had two of those drives, long drives. Like you said, it is the Texans, but at the end of the day, you definitely want to see some type of start there with Ronald Jones in the carries. Am I assuming that the victim of volume is going to be the number one guy, or am I looking too much into that where Fournette still has a chance to be the guy that starts for this team come September 9th?
I think it's going to be Jones, but they're going to go with the hot hand.
Okay.
I think you're going to see Fournette in there a bunch, because what a change up from Ronald Jones. I mean, you bring the battering ram in there, and that's something. And Peter, I got to give Coach Harold Godwin credit. This guy's a comedian. I asked him the question at last Thursday's practice before they left for Houston. I said, you know, Tristan Wirfs had to exceed everybody's expectations, right? Before I could finish the question, he said, good coaching. I said, okay, points for you. But again, he said, look, the big thing is, I thought he was an all-pro last year.
Uh-huh.
And Peter, you and I talked about that. We thought he was too.
Sure.
I mean, name me any rookie that lines up for 20 games every offensive snap. I don't care what position you're in. That doesn't happen too often. And he gives up one sack the entire season on him and gave up another one on a stunt. But, okay, 20 games, 2 sacks. That's 1 sack every 10 games. I'll take that, and twice on Sunday, right?
Absolutely. We're on with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. It's Sports Mag. Godwin in this game. Chris Godwin, 3 catches, 84 yards, touchdown. Encouraging to see that wide receiving crew. Not only Godwin, but Antonio Brown. I am telling you, I was trying to get him in my fantasy draft. I got a feeling about this. He could be the X factor and the guy that really sticks out in this offense. What did you see with these wide receivers?
It's a hell of a room, Peter. I'll tell you. In fact, someone texted me and said, hey, any thoughts about bringing another wide receiver? And I said, where are they going to go with the ball? And, you know, there's talk about Larry Fitzgerald being not unhappy, but just kind of, okay, I don't know if I want to play football anymore.
Right.
But, I mean, let's say Larry Fitzgerald comes in. Who do you sit? And that's a tough call right now, because this Tom Brady has never had these kind of weapons up in New England. I don't care what you say. Okay, 6 Super Bowls, he never had these kind of weapons.
No.
And I'll bet if he had those toys for 19 years, he may have 8 or 9 by now. Because where's the weakness on the Bucs, Peter? I can't find it. It's going to be if somebody gets hurt. That's the only weakness they're going to have. Because I know it's next man up, but some of these guys just aren't the guy. Like if Evans goes down, God forbid if Brady goes down, God forbid if Tristan Wirfs goes down, you don't have the kind of guy that can step in and be that guy. He can be maybe a little bit of that guy, but he can't be that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, he should have had those weapons in New England for all the times that he took less money, and that's what I always get down on people. They go, well, Brady left the Patriots and he shouldn't have left them. Yes, he should have, because he basically rolled out the red carpet. He did everything he could to bend over backwards for that organization, and they didn't give him the weapons that Tampa Bay has. And I tell you right now, he has an opportunity to go over 40 touchdowns. Now, we talked about this last year. Do you want this guy to throw for 50 touchdowns? That's not necessarily a good thing. You also want to mix in the run game. But you got to say here, if this offensive line can hold up, and I think it can, and him knowing this offense and having that grasp on this offense in his second year, you feel like he can have just another career year just because of the comfortability, if you will, not only with Brady, but Gronkowski and Brown being fully healthy and being comfortable. I mean, sky's the limit at this point.
Yeah, that was a nice Leo word you used there.
Thank you very much. I thought I'm becoming a wordsmith now, hanging out with you, and I'm also becoming a guy that's putting on a bunch of LBs, because anytime you hang out with Leo Haggerty, you're going to eat well, but you're also going to learn some new words.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, when you look at what's actually happening with the Buccaneers, and I don't know if you saw Sports Illustrated, but they picked them 11-6. And you know what, Peter? I'm almost tempted to lean that way. I said anywhere between 10-7 and 12-5.
Right.
Simply because they're not going to sneak up on anybody. And people are going to say, well, there was Tom Brady. Yeah, I said, people said, yeah, but they're the Buccaneers.
Right.
And this year they're going to be circled on everybody's calendar. So they're going to get the best. And you know what? Everybody says, well, don't you get the best every Sunday? Yeah, but this is going to be a little more. This is going to get personal.
I think there's a proving point there, because people are saying, well, it was a COVID year. You had no fans. So can the Bucs do it again? Can they become the first team since the 03-04 Patriots to win back-to-back championships? And don't you think for 1 minute that Brady is not thinking about that? In fact, that's most likely his driving force. That's what makes him the greatest of all time. He has that unique ability to, take something like that and make that basically his fire for the whole year, much like a Michael Jordan, trying to make up something, make up a challenge or an obstacle that's there or not really there, and basically get the most out of it. We're on with Leo Haggerty here, the legend himself. Jalen Darden, 3 catches, 35 yards, but had a boo-boo, ran a wrong route, and of course it led to, I believe, an interception by Blaine Gabbert, almost a nearly interception. Was that an interception by Blaine Gabbert? I thought it was, right?
Yeah, it was, and it was a wrong route. You could see that.
Right.
The quarterback and receiver weren't on the same page, and that's why they call it preseason.
Right.
You got to get that stuff out of you.
Blaine Gabbert, though, Leo, 4 for 10, 26 yards. I get it. He's just a backup quarterback, but are they really happy with this guy being the backup? I mean, is it because he knows the offense? Because I talk to a lot of fans, and they're just really disenchanted, Leo word, on Gabbert's play.
I'll tell you what, Peter, remember, he's playing with the backups.
Okay.
Let's put him in with the first team, the varsity squad, and see what he does.
Right.
And that may be a different outcome. I like what I'm seeing defensively. I'm a little bit leery what I'm seeing offensively, only because, and again, someone asked Arian, are you worried about how bad your second team's playing? He said, no, they're never going to get on the field. I said, yeah, okay. It's perfect. It's
right.
And I'll tell you what, Peter, I don't know if you heard Arian's Sunday, but he's a little miffed about this COVID thing, not with the players, but with what the NFL is doing, because these guys that are now in COVID protocol have been vaccinated and are testing positive. Well, they're showing no symptoms. And again, Arians goes, hey, why are we testing people that have been vaccinated?
Yeah.
And that's the $64 million question. Why are we doing that? Because I wonder if we ask this question of somebody, how many people who are vaccinated that are testing positive are dying? I got a feeling it's a minuscule SAT word.
Very good.
Number. In fact, it may be negligent. There's a double whammy.
Wow.
It's something that I really wish someone would come up with, because if they're going to keep going into COVID protocol, we're never going to get out of this, because again, you're vaccinated, you catch it. Well, you're supposed to be able to fight it off. So what is it? And again, the NFL is so scared, along with Major League Baseball, along with NHL, along with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want one of their players dying, because that is the ultimate downfall. You don't ever want to have that happen.
No, of course not. And we don't know the impact. We don't know the effects of it long term, because it has a different impact on, different bodies, right? Not everybody's body is the same. So you don't know the long-term effects. And even Coach BA talked about this. He was concerned about the 4-day break. He didn't necessarily like the testing. I think he said like 7 days. It was 7 days instead of 14. He wasn't, too keen on that. And he also said it's something we'll talk about as a team. We're definitely going back to last year's meeting where we're all spread out because our facility is so good. We can do that. That's the biggest thing as far as masks. Until I'm ready to wear one, then I won't require anyone else to wear one. He also says our guys are very, very aware of the situation, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't affect our team. And again, he also goes on to say it's a personal thing. Our guys are very, very smart on who to be with, where to be, and how to handle ourselves, whether or not they go to restaurants and those type of things. We'll talk about that at a later date. And what you come to find out is, yes, even though you are vaccinated, you can still get it. What the vaccine was supposed to do, or what it does, is it limits the symptoms. The problem is you still have unvaccinated players in the NFL. And I think what the NFL is worried about is those unvaccinated players affecting the team. And then basically you got a situation like you had last week with the Tennessee Titans, right?
Oh, yeah. And Peter, again, as I recommend to all my readers, do the math. They're going to get down to right about 60 guys. And right now, it looks like the baseline for everybody except the Atlanta Falcons, the Falcons have 100%. It looks like right around 80%. Well, guess what? With 60 guys, 80%, you got 12 guys that are not vaccinated. That's Canadian football. You got 12 guys. That's a whole team, a whole side of the ball. If that happens, and again, the NFL comes out and says, well, you're going to forfeit. I want to see them tell the Buccaneers or tell the Kansas City Chiefs that, okay, you're going to have to forfeit your game because you don't have enough players or whatever. They will move those games. The NFL does not want to put the marquee teams at a disadvantage. Now, they'll put the Denver Broncos out there and make them use a backup,
sure,
scrub ex-quarterback that's a wide receiver because it's the Denver Broncos. But you know what? When Jackson got it down in Baltimore, man, they moved that schedule 3 times. And
it's such a double standard, and it's all about, I always go back to, this comparison. If you have replay, you're getting it right. Get it right if you have that replay. If you're not getting it right, the same thing goes here. Why the stance by the National Football League and I guess the defiance, if you will, to say, you know what, we're not going to put off any games this year, no matter what happens. It's like, no, you're going to have to put off games. To tell a team to basically forfeit is ridiculous. And I get it. What you're trying to do is, get everybody vaccinated and make an example. But, it's kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah,
it's counterproductive. That's what it is. It really is. It's completely counterproductive because at the end of the day, fans really don't care when a team plays. They just want to see the team play. But to say, you know what, we're going to forfeit because we've got a reaction in the locker room because somebody is unvaccinated or even vaccinated, and you got basically a flare up at that point. That's a little bit unfair. You really haven't kind of dictated the rules for the vaccinated players. and they could still get it. So I don't know. It's just confusing to me at this juncture. Tell you what, let's talk about this defense a little bit. They really confused the hell out of the Houston Texans. Of course, Davis Mills had 3 interceptions in this game. But the story throughout the training camp, throughout this whole process, once again, has been Joe Tryon, Shayenka, basically, causing a fumble, forcing a fumble. They forced 5 more turnovers on Saturday, and Coach BA said, I was very pleased. Obviously, getting 5 turnovers was stopping them on all these 4th downs. That was obviously a totally different game with their kicker was injured. I thought our defense, again, we got Joe some work. He needed some more work, and Anthony Nelson got them out of there. So with that being said, I mean, how impressed were you with this kid Tryon? And once again, how does he get passed on by 31 other teams? He looks like a man among boys.
He didn't play a game last year, Peter, and people forgot about him.
Yeah.
That's how he – and again, I had a chance to see him against Utah 2 years ago when I went out to see the Buccaneers, and Washington just happened to be playing that week. Peter, again, what a great motor. The kid learned. Look at him. Instead of going for the sack, he goes for the arm to cause the fumble. I'm a little concerned that he doesn't read right out of the gate.
Okay.
And here's what I mean. When action goes away from him, he immediately pursues. I think what BA was talking about was he'd like to see him do a better job in the run game. Only, if you're the back guy, read that back shoulder of the quarterback, because if he comes back out, you need to be there.
Yeah. Jason Light spoke to WFLA Channel 8 on the broadcast, and he says, this is a great group here, not only great players, but just a great close-knit group. A lot of fun to coach and a lot of fun to be around. These guys are just very motivated to repeat, and I'm not making any prediction here, but they're all very motivated here. This is what you've heard throughout the camp. If it's not BA being the Zen master and talking about the offense, slow starts in training camp and in preseason, it has been this common thought process that everybody's motivated, that, take away last year, they want to repeat. Is that what you hear? Is that what you see with covering this team overall?
Oh, absolutely. And Peter, Harold Godwin made this statement. He said, I'm so glad they took these dang down banners down. That's last year.
Right.
We can't live in the past. We got to live now.
Right.
And that's what does the NFL stand for, Peter? Not for long.
Not for long.
And I'll tell you what, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You're the defending Super Bowl champs. Time to step up and play.
Absolutely agree. We're on with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, from a Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag. Now, the Bucs made some cuts today. One big-time surprise, or really was it a surprise? And we'll get back to that in a moment. A Tanner Hudson, your thoughts on that cut?
Numbers game, Peter. Tanner Hudson's going to play for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be without a job for long. Again, it was just a simple matter of numbers. You're not going to get rid of O.J. Howard. You're not going to get rid of Gronk. You're not going to get rid of Cameron Brady.
Right.
And that's he was fighting the numbers game. But the kid can play. We'll see him somewhere. The shame is, let's hope it's not with, New Orleans or Atlanta or Carolina in the league, because then you got to see him twice.
Or Dallas. So, the Dallas Cowboys would be just like this, to try to steal a game plan. And of course, you would hope that they're going to change their looks and change their audibles up, but this would be, a way to get an advantage by the Cowboys. And BA had this to say about Tanner Hudson a couple weeks ago. Ever since we've been here, he's been able to catch the ball. He gives our defense fits on the scout team, but he's had opportunities in ball games that he hasn't been quite the same. I want to see him do something besides preseason and something besides catch the ball. He's not a wide receiver. He's a tight end. So you got to be able to block a little bit just to see him grow in that regard and be a physical presence on special teams with his size and speed. We kind of talk about this tight end room. Look, Rob Gronkowski can absolutely block. We think that O.J. Howard can block. Cameron Brate's not going to block anybody unless he gets in their way mistakenly. It's risky, though, when you cut a Tanner Hudson, because that room is filled with injury guys, especially with a Howard and a Brate coming off of an injury.
Yeah, Peter, and I'll tell you what, I want to ask Arians this week.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an unwritten rule between teams if you cut a guy and he picks him up? Are they supposed to not spill the beans or what? And again,
by the way, what is the unwritten rule? That doesn't make any. It's like the unwritten rules of baseball. If it's not a written rule, then is it a rule? I've never understood that. Well, it's an unwritten rule not to bunt on a no hitter. No, you do whatever it takes. I've never understood, Leo, that unwritten rule stuff.
I don't either, and that's why I want to ask Arians, because I would think that you don't want to end up with having to cut a guy and worrying about where he's going to go.
Sure.
And basically throwing your whole offense into a quandary, in other words.
Wow, you're full of it tonight.
I am. I'm full of it pretty much. What about the same thing? Okay. But, yeah. It'll be interesting. Hey, wait a second. You have Travis on tonight because he's full of it too.
No, we don't have Travis Faley on tonight, but he is full of it. And I'll give it to you, Travis Faley. Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Tampa Bay Lightning insider around the NFL correspondent. Going back to the cuts, we talk about Hudson Antonio Hamilton, of course, being claimed from the Kansas City Chiefs, had an opportunity to win a cornerback job. Looks like he's not going to be able to do that. Javon Hagan, that's a surprise to me. Elijah Ponder, Jake Benzinger, Jarrell Adams, and Joe Jones. Besides Hudson, Hagan, is that the biggest surprise for you? Because he showed some flashes of brilliance even last year playing in some games for the Bucs.
Yeah, Peter, it's just simply a numbers game. And I'm amazed the NFL didn't expand the rosters, especially with COVID.
Sure.
I really thought they'd go to 53 and then expand it to 12 people. So you got 65 around just in case.
Sure.
Maybe even 70 because with the situation you have now. But again, Peter, I don't know if the NFL is thinking down the road on that.
Right.
But, it's something I wish they would have thought out and told people right away, okay, this is what we're looking at in terms of roster numbers, and we're going to do that for a year. Maybe even do it just for the first 6-8 games, just so people can play, and that's going to be a problem.
Well, I think the guy that benefited because you saw Hamilton being cut, that's D. Delaney. Talk about this kid, 2 interceptions, and it seems like, look, he wants to be on an NFL club, and that would be the Bucs. He certainly has stepped up, and Coach B.A. has talked about him a couple times in his press conferences.
Yeah, you get 2 picks in a game, you better be somebody better be talking about because
right.
It's something you just it's not the easiest thing to do.
Right.
So
obviously,
I like what the kid does in terms of he makes a move, he reads. Like both interceptions were out routes,
right?
And he jumped them. Now I don't know if that was what Todd Bowles had in that scheme, but if it wasn't, it made a great move. Now that if he's in the game when Dallas shows up, it's going to be an out and up. It's just, that's what you do to guys that jump out routes. You run out and up on them.
Okay.
So
good stuff.
Yeah, double moves, which is nice because double moves mean you need time. And something you don't get with a Buccaneers pass rush is time.
Well, it's absolutely right. Excuse me. And you're going to want to, put as much pressure on Dak Prescott. So you're still not sure if this guy's going to be 100%. I doubt he's going to be 100% even at the beginning of the season or throughout the season. You got to feel like the Bucs are going to take full advantage of it. They're going to try to hit him as much as they can. And you wonder once again how that shoulder injury is going to hold up throughout the year.
Well, Peter, nobody's ever 100%.
Correct.
It's a matter of when you get to. I mean, look at this. Tom Brady supposedly last year went through the whole season with a knee issue.
Right.
Peter, we didn't know that. It wasn't obvious. Now, is that because Tom Brady is not the most athletic guy?
Sure.
I don't know.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing is the quarterback with the cleanest jersey is going to win. And that's the key.
Right.
You got to keep your guy upright.
You do. You absolutely do. And you're exactly right. And with that being said, I think the more concerning thing is, even though, look, I get it, the knee is, a knee injury is absolutely important for a quarterback's mobility, although Brady's really not mobile, but you still have to put weight on it. But the thing that's concerning for me with Dak's injury is that it's a shoulder injury. It's his throwing shoulder. So you wonder how it's going to affect the ball. You wonder how it's going to affect him overall. Is it going to take spin off the ball? Is he going to be able to throw it deep? Is it going to hinder him? Is he going to have to go through pain? I get it. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I just think it's a foreshadowing of things to come. All these big time expectations for the Dallas Cowboys, and they're opening up and they have a new defensive coordinator. And yet the quarterback that they gave the big time extension to could be hurt throughout the whole year. So disappointing for Cowboy fans. But of course, Bucs fans don't really care about that. With that being said, let's go around the NFL and then we'll get out to JC Allen of Pewter Report. Stand by there, my friend. I see you in the waiting room. Deshaun Watson. There were rumors from Pro Football Talk that now he could possibly be traded. One team that has emerged, the Miami Dolphins. It seemed like it made sense to me for the Miami Dolphins. I don't necessarily think they're all in on a Tua because of what he did last year, because of the injury history. But the problem is, I still have a problem with all these rumors coming out from Watson. Who in their right mind is going to trade 3 first-round picks and possibly 2 second-round picks for a quarterback that, once again, you don't even know is going to be a starting quarterback in this league this year, let alone next year?
You know what, Peter? The NFL's got to give some assurances
right
to these teams. And again, Peter, I know there's a lot of people that have come out with allegations, but if they were true, or if the NFL thought they had any credence, I think the guy would have been suspended by now.
Right, so we would think.
Yeah, I got a feeling that the NFL is a little concerned about, one, the number of allegations, but 2, it's what is actually happening here. If we were talking about 2 16-year-olds, it's a whole different animal. But we're talking about 2 consenting adults in their 20s. And Peter, I don't condone it.
Right.
But you know what? They're an adult. What you do behind your closed doors is your business. And
yeah, but
the NFL's got the personal, conduct policy, and
right.
I got a feeling they're kind of right on the fence right now. Saying, well, what can we suspend him for? Well, if he's guilty, yes, then we can suspend him. But the problem is, Peter, you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. That's not a problem. That's a right. And that's what's going on. And I'll tell you what, I'm more concerned about Miami figuring out that Tua wasn't the guy. I mean, I think New England's got the same problem up there. Name me an Alabama quarterback who has done well lately. I mean, yeah, Joe Namath, Ken Stabler,
sure,
Bart Starr, but nobody lately. It's not quarterback you. So
no, it's definitely not. You're exactly right about that. And AJ McCarron falls between that. Also, not being able to stay healthy this year. He's never really done anything in the league. You're exactly right. But there were always red flags about Tua with the hip injury, with multiple injuries. So now you realize it, and I get it. I just think it's too risky at this point. I would stay with Tua, but if you get a Deshaun Watson and he can overcome this, which I don't think he can, whether he's guilty or innocent or not, what the NFL is about is PR. So if you actually let him play a game, can you imagine how many female fans are going to be absolutely upset with the National Football League, or may turn it off, or how the ratings would slip on those games? I get it. The Texans are a dumpster fire, and whoever Watson plays for at that point is going to give you an opportunity besides the Texans. But I think there would be a lot of women out there that would turn off the NFL just because of the NFL's lack of understanding or doing something at that point about this, whether they're allegations or not. There's still 10 criminal complaints, and the NFL has taken a stance a couple years ago on these sexual crimes. So I feel like at the end of the day, the NFL is a rock in a hard place at this point, and they're going to have to make a decision here before the season starts. And I think they should have made a decision already. At the end of the day, I think what's best for the NFL is to basically have this guy be on the commissioner's exempt list figure out the case no matter how long it takes, because if you put Watson out there, it is a PR nightmare and a black eye for the National Football League. Agree?
No, Peter, I don't. And here's why.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 words.
Okay.
Michael Vick.
Okay.
I never thought Michael Vick would play another game.
Right.
And what he went through, he came out in, of all places, Philadelphia.
Right. But that was dogs. I mean, look at the press for that compared to what you have now. You're not talking about 1 or 2 women. You're talking about multiple women with sexual crimes, 10 criminal complaints. I mean, Goodell has to get in front of this. And if they don't, once again, it's a black eye for the National Football League. And I don't care what anybody says. Yes, Watson is a superstar, but at the end of the day, you can't just always protect your superstars. It can't be just about protecting them. It also has to be about why you did this in the first place, protecting the shield, which means the money. The money's not coming in, and you have fans that are turning it off, especially women that are football fans. And I know a lot out there, and we know a couple that are big-time football fans. I just think they got to make a decision, and they got to make it here in the next couple of days. And if not, the NFL has dropped the ball.
Peter, they should have made this decision 2 months ago, and I think the reason why they haven't is there's some consternation within the NFL as to whether this is true or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's allegations right now. Peter, we've seen over the years that when something comes out within 7 days, the commissioner makes a decision. There's a reason why and it's not because Watson's a superstar. There's got to be some real questions about what the evidence actually is, because Peter, you're exactly right on this. They don't want a black eye.
No.
They do not want, but they also don't want to end up throwing off one of their guys and then all of a sudden him come back and sue them for, okay, I've been innocent. I told you I was innocent. And that's the problem, Peter, is the NFL right now, I don't think has enough information. You know, you would think that if they saw all these criminal complaints, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
Well, why haven't they done anything? I think when they do their investigation and went through this, they're getting some reports back saying, I'm not too sure about what's being said is actually true. And that's where they are. Because, Peter, you're exactly right in this sense. If they have information and if they have evidence, they should have it right now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Maybe they don't have, maybe they're not privy to that information, but I always look back in the past, and if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it, right? And what you did with Ray Rice, what you did with Greg Hardy, suspending him for 2 games, and then all of a sudden, all the other information comes out. I get it, the NFL is trying to wait, but at a certain point, look, you've got to make a decision at this juncture, and if you don't, then basically it comes back to bite you. All right, Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television live on NSPN, and of course, I Love St. Pete.
Go to www.itsportsmag.com and check out our You Talking to Me. We're talking this week about, will anybody ever break Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak?
Never going to happen. Never. And I've seen
sabermetrics.
No,
right, Peter?
No, never. And I tell you right now, with guys getting a break, I just don't see it happening. There's too much, if you will, specialization in pitching right now, where you can get guys from the bullpen to basically shut guys down. You have a defensive shift, but definitely check out this website. It's Sports Mag. They've been catering to sports fans since 1977. I saw what you guys did with the TV edition. I want to be on there one of these days. You guys are doing some good work over there. So it's Sports Mag, and of course, Night Sports Productions. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web live on NSPN. And of course, I Love St. Pete.
Thank you, Peter. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. There you go. And we won't say what that's all about until it's ready to be announced. Let's go ahead and go out to the comments, and then we'll go out to JC Allen. I promise you, I told you that sometimes the flow of the show goes this way. Bucs made a huge mistake by not signing the GOAT. Minshew, you're starting out early. Of course, he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he is the 3rd guy on the team because Joe Flacco reportedly is going to be the backup. So Garrett Minshew doesn't have to worry about being a 2 or taking a 2. 37 touchdowns, 11 interceptions in the last 2 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to be the third quarterback. Christopher Cole says, hey, what's up, everyone? Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan legend. What the hell, Master Peter? Where are you at? What's up, Peter? What's going on? Frank? Bro, it was the Texans. I don't care. Don't kill my buzz. Don't kill the Victory Monday celebration. Although, yes, it was a preseason game. But let's enjoy it. Let's have the Moondays together. You know where that's from. You definitely got a good taste in movies. Hey, Pete, what's going on, Ed? Yeah, but some Bucs fans are all doom and gloom and 2 losses and say it's only preseason and the win. Shaking my head. Exactly. Let me fire those cannons. Troy Polamalu, Winfield Jr. is elite. Bunting and Davis are bums. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Fitzgerald, we need Michael Thomas. Oh, please. There's no way you need Michael Thomas at this point. You have to be trolling me, right? You have to be. You're definitely trolling me. All right. Well, let's go out to the phone lines. JC, hold on. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and get JC Allen on from Pewter Report. Let's go ahead and take a call.
Let's do it.
Curtis from Newport Richie, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with the great JC Allen of Pewter Report. What do you have to say, my friend?
What's up, brother?
How we doing?
How's everything going?
Everything's going great. Victory Monday, although it's the last preseason game of this preseason. I'm trying to pump everybody up because I think a lot of people were going crazy with those 2 losses, even though it's still preseason. What's up with you?
Listen, let me tell you something. Everybody is going to hate on the Bucs because we won the Super Bowl, and we're going to be getting trolled from now until we either repeat or we get knocked out. Period.
I saw that today on the NFL Network. Once again, the most dangerous team in the National Football League, according to Good Morning NFL or Good Morning Football, would be the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know. Why are they the most dangerous? The only touchdown they had in Tampa was when they landed the plane. They're still trying to find the end zone at this point. I don't get it.
Listen, first of all, let's say this. You have to win our division first, which I'm not too afraid of Jameis Winston throwing multiple touchdowns against Jacksonville. And Atlanta is going to be Atlanta. And, I mean, honestly, I think the scariest team in our division might be Carolina.
Well, according to Madden, Carolina is predicted to go against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold throwing 36 touchdowns. But, look, if he does that, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. I mean, the only way that happens if Christian McCaffrey comes back, if he learns that offense. I'm not necessarily buying this whole Sam Darnold thing, throwing 36 touchdowns. Let's see what he can do. Let's not anoint him the next best quarterback in this division yet, Madden.
I mean, if Brady looks as good as he did on that second and third drive, I mean, we're talking about 50 touchdown passes this year.
I mean, isn't it? Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say that's funny because Steve Palazzolo from PFF Fantasy Football said he thinks that Mike Evans is going to smash Randy Moss's touchdown record. So kind of ties hand in hand. I thought that Brady could have got 40-something touchdowns last year. Turns out he did. Everyone joked, he's not going to get that many. I was like, 42, 43, and it with 40, another 10 in the playoffs. So, and that was not with knowing the offense and the receivers. So I definitely think 50 burger is
Josh, how do you feel about this? How about Evans 12, Godwin 12, Brown 12, and Howard and Gronk both have 7.
Go.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I think AB is I think he's going to lead the team in touchdowns. I think Mike's probably going to lead it in yards. Chris will lead it in receptions. Then Gronk and Howard sprinkled in. Don't forget about Gio. Rojo's look better as a pass catcher. I'm sure Leonard Fournette will catch 1 or 2. And then everybody else: Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Jalen Darden. They're all going to get involved. I mean, 50 touchdowns is definitely, I think, doable this year after you did 40, not knowing the playbook, not knowing the receivers, and now you know everything. We'll see.
Hey, what's the young kids? Help me remember the young kid's name? Number one. What's his name?
Jalen
Darden.
Yes, 3 catches for 35 yards.
Him, Miller, and Tyler Johnson are the wild cards for this team this year. Those are going to be the guys that are going to come in, and you're going to be worried about everybody else, and they're going to just torch you.
Yeah. I mean, the personnel that can roll out there is just disgusting. I mean, we saw it in camp a few times. They had O.J. Howard on the field with Gronk and Mike Evans, and they had Jarrell Adams out there, but that would be replaced by Cam Brate. You're down in the red zone. I mean, that's a really difficult matchup to stop. All those guys got hands. All those guys got size. So, and we didn't even mention Cam Brate. He's good for at least 3 or 4. So they're gonna get tutties. Tutties gonna be all over the place.
Cam Brate always shows up when you need him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. Of course, you saw Tanner Hudson get cut today. JC, I want to ask you with Curtis on the phone.
I'm sad about that.
You're sad about that?
I told you I'm the huge Tanner Hudson fan. I'm sad about that.
Mr. August?
Well, I think that's what it comes down to. He's a good guy. He's been productive the last couple of years, but BA is right. When he's been put into that situation in game time opportunities, he has not been able to be productive. And then on top of it, he has regressed as a blocker. And then this offense, it's a big-time component that you know how to block. And it doesn't seem like Hudson's really learned how to block. So I think that's why he was the odd man out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that he's a valuable tight end. And, I think he latches on somewhere. I don't think he passes through waivers. I was shocked that they didn't at least get like a conditional 6th or 7th round pick in 2022 or 2023 that they had to waive him. But he's not a good fit for the offense. As a split end, as a move tight end, another offense, he can easily be a team's number 2 tight end. But just here, it's not what BA asked their tight ends to do. And you already have a guy who isn't that big of a factor in the blocking game in Cam Brate. You can't have 2. It's the reason why they kept Anthony O'Clair last year over Cam Brate, because he was a better blocker, or so they thought.
Speaking of blocking,
yep.
How about the lead block O.J. Howard had to spring Ronald Jones in the preseason game?
Oh, that was nice.
I felt so good for O.J.
He's getting better. I actually talked to him over the summer, and that's one thing he said. He's been studying the top 5 guys at his position, how they block, and obviously leaning on Gronk and the coaching staff and taking the coaching staff, trying to apply it to his game. And, it's going to take him, I think, still 1 or 2 games to really get his football legs underneath of him. But I mean, you saw, improvement in the blocking game, improvement in the receiving game after that drop performance that he had the week prior. So, I think he'll be a big part of the offense. He's an instant mismatch when you put him on the field. He's too big for cornerbacks and safeties. He's too fast for linebackers. So if he can get everything together, I think he'll be a huge, huge part of this offense. And 12 personnel with him, Gronk, AB and or Evans and Godwin out there with a guy like Giovanni Bernard in the backfield who can, an underrated runner, but also, can do damage out of the backfield. It's a very, very hard personnel group to really lock down and stop. So I definitely expect them to be on the field early and often.
And before I let you guys go, I want to ask both of you guys a question.
Yeah, go for it.
It's kind of a 2-parter. The first question is, how high do you think the ceiling is for Joe Triumph?
Wow. I mean, everything coming out of training camp, everything from JPP, the sky's the limit. I mean, if he gives you another guy that you can put on the field along with the JPP and a Shaq at the same time, I mean, that's scary. I think Todd Bowles is going to, basically try to do that. And then on top of it, if one of those guys goes out with an injury or just goes out for a breather, I think that, again, you see what you see there. Is there going to be some learning curve with the National Football League? Of course, our team's going to catch up on what he does, his tendencies. Of course they are. But effort, body-wise, sky's the limit. This kid can really do some major things. And who knows? Maybe he could be Defensive Rookie of the Year. What do you say, JC?
Yeah, I think this year alone, probably 6-7 sacks, probably around, 8 to 12 tackles for a loss. Maybe an interception, maybe 2 or 3, 2 forced fumbles. I think he's going to wreak havoc. When you get him out on the field, usually when a guy like Shaq Barrett or JPP comes off, which they rarely do, you're throwing in a guy like Anthony Nelson, or, you threw in Cam Gill a little bit last year. This year, you're not. You're getting a different animal back there. Career-wise, top 10 defensive end edge rusher. I just think he's got that kind of potential.
the other question is, Winfield was really good last year. How scary is it that he might be better this year?
I think it's certainly a possibility with, again, him being comfortable in this defense. And you see that, look, he's consulting his father. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get complacent. So he's going to do everything to make his game that much better. So once again, I think it's absolutely frightening, like the horror movies in the 80s and the 90s, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the real ones, not the remade ones, the watered down ones. It's frightening to see what Mr. Winfield Jr. can do this year in this defense.
To me, he brings your finesse, and then Whitehead's bringing the thump.
Exactly. We don't know if Whitehead's going to play yet. We'll talk with JC about that. Curtis, anything else?
Oh, let me answer that question real quick, though.
I'll probably call y'all later.
All right, Curtis, appreciate you. There you go. Curtis, one of my favorite web heads right there with Fire the Cannons.
He brings it.
Yes, absolutely. So, JC, what is the latest on a Jordan Whitehead?
Well, Jordan Whitehead, we're going to get news for the rest of the cuts tomorrow. And I know they're comfortable with Ross Cockrell playing back at that safety position. But surprisingly, they released Javon Hagan today. And that was a shocker to me. He's been able to play both safety positions, been playing more strong safety the last couple of weeks since the start of camp, with Ross Cockrell moving over to the free safety position. And Chris Cooper's not really a strong safety. He's more of a free safety himself. So really, you just got rid of your only true strong safety backup, guy who can play that position well on the roster. You have Mike Edwards back there, who's a little bit of a, hybrid jack of all trades. But, that being said, and again, it's a question mark of what they.
Hold on, Ed. We got JC on here. Hold the line here. Stand by. Go ahead, JC.
And it's a question mark, too, of what they're going to do, with Chris Cooper tomorrow with the safety depth. But if he gets cut, you have to like his chances of coming back. And you have to think that the Bucs are really comfortable going into the season with just three true safeties in Ross Cockrell. So I think the releasing of Javon Hagan, while, it was kind of disappointing as someone who really appreciates his play and has kind of watched him grow, I think it's good news on the Whitehead injury front.
All right, let's go out to Ed. Ed, turn your phone down or turn your TV down there. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with JC Allen of Pewter Report. What do you have to say?
Yeah, sorry about that. Hold on. Let me mute the TV.
That's all right. At least you're tuning in. You could be watching other things at this point, Monday Night Raw, but nobody watches Monday Night Raw anymore.
I'm not going to miss your show now.
Good.
It's football season.
Good. You better not, because if you do, this is what you're going to get. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll laugh for you. I would laugh at myself if I did that. But
Okay.
hey, man. Hey, did you check out that rookie sensation quarterback? I don't want to say his name because I don't want to, trash him. He needs a better name. But anyways, he looked really good, man. I'm really excited about this kid and watching him grow up. What do you think?
Kyle Trask. I think that's the question at this point. What do you think about Kyle Trask?
Me or you?
No, I mean, what is?
I just think that this kid's got a lot of poise.
Okay.
I think he's a worker. He works real hard. He's got a nice arm. He drove down the field, scored a touchdown. Granted, it was against, second and third string guys.
It's right. 12 for 14, 146, one touchdown. I mean, JC, this is kind of what they were looking for. Again, just to, kind of preface this, if you will, it is against second and third stringers, but it's that development in the preseason, JC, that this coaching staff wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, you see he's gotten better throughout each preseason game. He's a work in progress. He's not going to be out on the field for at least another 2, potentially 3 years. You got to think Brady's going to play at least his 45-year season if he wants to go another year after that. They have. I heard someone the other day said, I think it was on the show, Peter. Someone's like, trade Trask. You can't trade the dude because you only have, you got him for 4 years locked up. If Brady's only got 2 years left, then you get 2 years to look at Kyle Trask.
Right.
Or, if he plays for 3, you get 1 year. I think it's a slow learning curve. He's just getting used to the speed of the defense, speed of the game. He kind of got in rhythm with a couple of his guys. Tyler Johnson made a great catch and some yards after the catch there before Keyshawn Vaughn fumbled on the next snap. And then Jalen Darden, Cody McElroy, 20-yard touchdown. He made some really good throws. He showed some good poise, feeling the pocket, feeling the pressure, and stepping up when he needed to, making those small, slight adjustments that are Tom Brady-esque, not Tom Brady, but
Right.
you know the way that
because people go crazy on that.
Yes, he's not Tom Brady. He'll never be Tom Brady. But, you know, I think that's just the way you describe it, you know. I mean, just feeling the pressure, taking those tiny steps up to avoid it. And it was encouraging to see. Now, he's got Tom Brady to learn from. He's also got some of the best coaches in the league when it comes to working with quarterbacks. So I think he's going to be fine. It's developmental. Hopefully we don't see him again for the rest of the season, and we get a good taste of what he looks like next preseason, the next training camp, you know, and hopefully he's improved. So I'm excited about his future. I'm not on those guys who are down on him or down on the draft pick. I'm always in the school of thought you need to be developing quarterbacks, even if it's going to be a backup quarterback. It's what the Patriots did when they had Tom. It's just a smart move to do. And, you know, if you looked at this roster and you're still looking at this roster, there's really nowhere they could have gone to really shore up anything. Maybe you could say, okay, you know, they could have grabbed the safety. Defensive tackle was a weak class. By the time they picked Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil were both off the board. Two of the guys that maybe you would have looked at. You know, maybe you could say running back, but even then, you know, Ramondre Stevenson didn't even go to the 5th round, and the guys look a beast so far. So, you know, really looking at the draft, their needs or lack thereof, it was a great pick. And, you know, just give it time. That's all I got to say. And just give it time.
I think it comes down to, you know, a lot of Seminole and Hurricane fans that are Gators. And, you know, it's just like the Jameis Winston thing. When Jameis Winston got drafted, if you're a Gator fan, you hated the pick because Winston beat you in college and you didn't want to give him that opportunity. And I think it's the same thing with Trask, and you have to put that college allegiance aside, give the kid an opportunity, see what he can do, see if he can develop. And oh, by the way, you know, Tom Brady kind of signed off on him, and BA, who's, you know, you kind of work with some quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck. I mean, those guys get paid millions of dollars to evaluate. So I'll trust their evaluations. All right.
Yeah, I do too. I really am excited to watch this kid grow up here at Tampa. I'll tell you, he reminds me a little bit of Brad Johnson. He's got that big size, big arm.
Right.
So yeah, he kind of reminds
me. He's a prototypical BA quarterback.
And a lot of people said, you know, that's a bad thing. Really? A Brad Johnson who had 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions? Yes. I mean, this is where we're going. Oh, he's not
terrible.
Right. He's not a trade.
Interceptions is bad. 22 touchdowns. I mean,
right. He's a game manager. Okay, if he's a game manager, that means he's not going to throw a lot of interceptions. Can he make every throw? We'll see. It certainly seems like he can make every throw. We're going to see how he can develop. So, yeah, comparisons are asinine at the end of the day.
The jury's still out, but I don't think he's going to be a game manager. You know,
one thing that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a FSU fan, and I was.
Well, I am too, but I saw the kid play in college, and I saw him play very well. Right, so I'm going to give him a chance. You know, and hell, if the guy can play, I don't care if he's playing. He played at Florida, Miami, USF, wherever. If he's productive for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's what you should care about. Ed, go ahead, JC.
He's a Buck now.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
There you go, JC. What do you have to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I mean, you know, if he's a game manager, then, you know, there's been great players who have had success as a game manager. You know, the thing is that really impressed me is I saw a little bit more zip in his arm during the game than I did in practice. There'd be times at practice where he would have a guy open, he'd make the throw, but it just didn't have enough oomph on it, you know, especially down in the red zone. But, you know, that 20-yard touchdown to Cody McElroy, I was really impressed by, you know, the zip that he had on the ball. And again, he's just going to be learning. It's a learning process for him. You know, he's going from throwing to Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney to throwing to, you know, no knock on them, but Travis Johnson and Jaden Mickens, you know, they've looked good in camp, but still, you know, it's night and day comparisons. Cody McElroy instead of Kyle Pitts, you know, it's just night and day comparisons. And, you know, especially then you throw into guys like Jalen Darden, who's still trying to learn the playbook and everything. So, I mean, I'm not worried at all about anything that's going on with Kyle Trask.
All right. Good stuff. So, Ed, what else?
As far as him, you know, had a couple of throws with no zip on it, you know, that's going to improve because, you know, he's still getting used to the offense where the receivers are going to be at. Mm-hmm. And maybe when he threw it, he's like, oh, wait a minute. I wasn't sure if that guy's really going to be there. And he accidentally took a little off of it.
It was like, you know, it was in the red zone kind of back corner end zone throws, and all the quarterbacks were taking turns throwing to their tight ends out there. So I mean, it wasn't like it was like in like a scrimmage type deal. It was a normal routine practice play. That's why it kind of concerned me a little bit. But like I said, those concerns were kind of washed away with Saturday's game. I thought he showed a lot of improvement in that area.
I don't get a chance to watch the practices, unfortunately.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. Well, we got you updated here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Any news yet on what the NFL might do to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers over that stupid deal with the injury he had last year?
Yeah, that's been very quiet. The NFL has been very quiet on, we just
nothing's going to happen.
Sean Watson and now Tom Brady. Any latest information that's coming out about that? No,
I don't think anything's going to happen with that. I mean, you can, he played hurt. You could say he played hurt. He didn't play injured. He played hurt. So, I don't know. I don't think anything's going to happen of it. It's going to be really hard for them to prove that anyone on the coaching staff knew or anyone knew that he was playing, especially a guy put up 40 touchdowns and almost 5,000 yards. So, I mean, really good luck proving that, So it's kind of like beating a dead horse. But you know what? The Deflategate did happen, so they could go after him.
Yeah.
Ed,
they better not suspend him.
Ed, I don't think they will.
If they take away a 6th or 7th round pick, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they do that,
take a 6th or 7th round pick, that's worth it. But
right.
If they suspend him for 2 or 3 or 4 games,
I don't see that happening.
I might turn off.
There's no way that the National Football League and Roger Goodell,
it'd be a fine if anything.
I mean, but it doesn't make any sense money wise because here you got this primetime game to open up the year with the Bucs versus the Cowboys, Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott. No way you're going to see a suspension. Ed,
no. You can't suspend him for the first 4 games because then you're missing out on the Rams and the Patriots too. So they're not going to be like, come down and suspend him after week 4. It's not happening. No. They're going to be fine. No draft pick, no nothing.
All right, Dad. What else?
I would just like to give props out to Jason Light, man. I mean, really drafting some really great players, man. We got that guy Johnson. He looked good. I mean, granted, it's against second and third string players, but man, he caught the ball. He could have dropped it,
Mm-hmm.
And he's catching the ball well, and he's a big time target. And also that guy, that kid, Joe Tryon, he looked really good. Man, can people just get off of him now, man? Because I'll tell you what, he's really built a good team here in Tampa. And it looks like he's bringing in younger players now that are going to be really good for the future here. As well as, I mean, we're talking about right now, I know, because we're, winning Super Bowls and what. But eventually you're going to have to build for the future too, So
Jason Light, does he get enough respect here from this Bucs fan base in your opinion, JC?
I think he's starting to. I mean, you look what he's done. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, you guys only won the Super Bowl because of," a lot of those fans will say, "You guys only won the Super Bowl because of Tom Brady." Well, if you look at the roster, most of it was either homegrown or key signings on free agency before that even happened. Tom, Gronk, and Leonard Fournette, and then AB came in. But before that, you drafted a lot of your core players. Your offensive line is almost entirely drafted besides Ryan Jensen. You look at the defensive line, it's almost entirely drafted besides a guy like Ndamukong Suh. You look at your linebacking core, almost entirely drafted besides Kevin Minter, Shaq Barrett, JPP. But that was a great trade and a great, 1-year contract to offer Shaq Barrett. The secondary is completely drafted. Your wide receiving core, the main ones that count besides AB and Gronk, those are all guys you drafted. You brought in a missing piece of the puzzle. You attracted a few other guys, and that's what you do. That's what a good GM does. And now, you look at the news coming out tonight that Mike Evans is restructuring his contract again to open up more cap space for the team. And it just continues to just do the things necessary to be done to be able to make this team a contender right now in this window.
Whoa! Hold the phone now. Could the Bucs be trying to get somebody else? Could they be trying to make a move? Or is this basically, in your opinion, just a cap move where you open up some cap? Could they be up to something here?
I don't necessarily know if they're up to something. There's going to be a lot of cuts. There's still a lot of good players.
I do hear rumors about Fitzgerald.
No, Fitzgerald's not coming here. They don't need Fitzgerald. They already have a logjam at wide receiver as it is.
I've heard rumors about it. I've heard rumors about this.
It's just most of those are fan rumors. But if you look at it, there are some guys who are going to get waived, some guys who are going to get cut around the league. And if the Bucs feel like they can add to this team with improvement, maybe it's safety. Adrian Claiborne. Not Claiborne. What was his name? I forget his Adrian Colbert. Sorry, was just released from this Patriots safety special teams guy. Maybe they take a look at him. Maybe they think that they need, they're moving on from Steve McClendon and need a little bit of help on the defensive line. Atkins is out there. Certainly could use an upgrade at fourth inside linebacker. Maybe they want a fifth outside linebacker with Cam Gill being on IR. There's definitely moves they can make, whether they're waiver claims or grabbing guys. I think this is mostly, though, just to open up some of that emergency money. They did come to a couple of injury settlements with guys, practice squad and stuff like that. I think it's just kind of some housekeeping money. Obviously, Mike Evans is fine with it because he's getting his money now instead of waiting for it. So I've seen some fans on Twitter be like, "Oh, I hate they keep asking him to do this." Yada yada. He don't mind. He's getting paid up front. So don't worry about Mike Evans. He's okay. But it just shows you the level of commitment to this team, and the Jason Light has brought in just great character guys.
That's it. That's what it's about. Great character guys. And then on top of it, leadership, right? You have the Glazers who are willing to do whatever it takes to bring back everybody. You have Jason Light who's willing to make the moves to make this team better. And you have a leader in a Tom Brady who's willing to take money, restructure his deal, which in turn has been a direct reflection of him and on his teammates. And his teammates have taken that lead. And here you go. Once again, Mike Evans doing it again. Even Mike Evans did it before Tom Brady.
Multiple times.
I always go back to this, like, everybody's like, well, they restructure. They shouldn't be. Look, they're getting the money up front. That's what they want to do. Nobody's putting a gun to their head. But at the end of the day, they're also looking out for the team, trying to help the team win multiple championships. Not one, not a fluke, multiple. Ed, thanks a lot for the call. Let me go ahead and fire this off here. Appreciate you as always, and definitely use your second call.
I will.
Okay.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya. All right. Good stuff from Ed.
I will say it is kind of interesting that they're going back to Mike Evans because Mike Evans and Marpet, we know have been there. Yeah, we'll take the money now, restructure guys. But instead of going to a guy like Ryan Jensen, who's, they could restructure or extend and restructure his contract to keep him around, but instead they're going to Mike Evans. So I thought that's kind of interesting. I don't know what Jensen's contract demands might be. Maybe they want to, they really are moving on from Hainsey. Or even Kappa. I mean, Kappa's cap hit. You don't want to restructure that, but I think it's kind of interesting that Ryan Jensen has yet to be approached about a possible restructure and extension, and maybe they want to see what Hainsey can do. How he progresses throughout the season, and they might let Jensen walk. But I thought that's interesting.
Absolutely interesting. I tell you what, let's go out to some of these comments here. I believe this has been. Injuries and more importantly, COVID can only derail the Bucs. Agree?
Yeah. I don't see them self-imploding. The locker room is too strong for that. And we already saw BA was ready to cut Leonard Fournette last year if he didn't get his S together, his crap together. So, this locker room, this coaching staff's too strong to let them implode on each other's. It's just really going to be, injuries and COVID. I think they are smart enough and talented enough to make adjustments if teams start to figure them out. And the personnel they have, lets them do that as well.
All right, let me go out back to Ben. Unfortunately, that COVID testing is going to continue for a while. It's a virus we've never encountered before, so I can certainly understand why the NFL and other sports are going to take extra precautions, whether you're vaccinated or not. But the problem is, even if you are vaccinated, you can still get it. The problem is the NFL has basically said, look, it's for the unvaccinated players, but it does not stop an outbreak from happening. That's the real tricky thing with the National Football League.
Yeah, and they just released a memo. They're going back to testing every 7 days, even for vaccinated members. Bruce said the other day, I wish vaccinated members didn't have to get tested at all. And it's because, you have to, the rules are ever changing. If you're vaccinated, I believe it's within 48 hours, you have 2 negative tests you can return.
Correct.
Unvaccinated, you're still on that 10-day lockdown quarantine. You can't come back to work. So we'll see, what happens and how it continues to change. But even still, that's why Bruce is so headstrong on saying, we're going by last year's protocols. We're not doing anything. NFL just released, if you're a vaccinated member of a team, you can go into Ubers and cabs, and you can use public transportation, and you can go out to hotels, and Bruce ain't having none of that. Bruce isn't not having none of that. They just went back to having to wear masks on buses and planes as well. So, it's just taking precautions, especially, I wouldn't, think that that the NFL and NFLPA wouldn't come to some sort of agreement here in the future, maybe before the season starts, about the punishment, with the forfeiture of games and both teams losing, game checks. Now that we're seeing this Delta variant expand and change and, how rapid it's coming, we've already saw one amendment made to this vaccine COVID-19 policy. I wouldn't be shocked to see more of them throughout the season. Do I think they have time to reschedule games? Probably not, but taking both teams' game checks away because, you can't help it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to definitely be interesting. And of course, I feel like it's about getting the call right. Okay. At the end of the day, you want to play the games. And if you have to put off the games in order to play them, that's fine. The NFL's stance throughout this, process has been, if you, like you said, you're going to forfeit games. And I just don't think that's the right approach. Play the games. Fans don't care. They just want to see the games played, not forfeited. That doesn't help anybody at all.
No, it doesn't. And like Bruce said, there are guys who are going out and missing, 48 hours to 10 days with symptoms that would never keep them out of their day job if it was work, like normal, if we weren't in COVID times, you got a slight fever or, you're coughing or something like that. And, it's like, I'm worried about sneezing in here. So, it's difficult. It's going to be a crazy season to navigate. I think more so this year than it was last year because of the vaccination coming out and being so available. And, I don't know. I mean, just buckle up and let's go for the ride and hope that the Bucs are one of the least, affected teams like they were last year.
And the guy that's going to be along for the ride here is Mr. J.C. Allen of Pewter Report here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, live here on NSPN. And, of course, I love St. Pete. Let's go back out to Ben. If you saw the Falcons game last night against the Browns, the Falcons defense was definitely practicing social distancing against the Browns offense. I'm going to give that to you because I like that. Did you see that game last night? I mean, nothing has changed. Everybody went, the Falcons got a new coaching staff. They still have the same trash personnel on defense. They still can't stop a common cold. I mean, come on. They are as soft as Charmin.
Yeah, I mean, they're not good. They're not good. I mean, the defense is not good. You're learning a new staff, new scheme. It's going to take a little bit for them. Maybe they can start kind of getting, into some sort of rhythm midseason. But, the offense should still be able to put up points, but the defense is going to have to stop teams from putting up points. And right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be something they can do.
I mean, you can draft the greatness of Kyle Pitts. Hell, you can draft anybody you want to at that point. But if you can't stop anybody, you're going to have to score a lot of points. It's the same case with the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody talking about, they got CeeDee Lamb, and they got Amari Cooper, and they got Gallup, and they got Ezekiel Elliott, and they got Dak Prescott with that big fat contract, but they're not able to stop anybody. And consequently, they got the defensive coordinator, the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, where they had their worst game defensively as their new defensive coordinator. Now, make some sense of that. I just don't understand it. There wasn't another defensive coordinator out there, Dallas? No, of course not. Let's go ahead and go with retreads. That makes sense. All right, I'm on one tonight. Leo's saying healthy, releasing those gas clouds. And let's go ahead and give it to him because he was.
Oh, man.
Here, I love it. Edward Gross says, hey, Pete, Brandon Bingham with the beer. Let's see. Okay, Ben Cornett. And I guess you guys got to click on the link because we can't see your name. So click on that link when you click in there. Okay, JC, with all due respect, would the Bucs have won the Super Bowl or made it to the Super Bowl or even make the playoffs without Tom Brady and instead did it with Jameis or Bridgewater last season? Go.
Playoffs, yes. Super Bowl, probably not. Don't misconstrue my words. I'm not saying that Tom Brady wasn't a huge reason this team had success. I'm just saying he wasn't the only reason this team had success. There's a reason why Tom Brady picked this team over other teams, and it wasn't just because of distance from New York or from his son or this or that. You look around this team, the defense, the offense, the culture that, Bruce Arians, the coach himself, I mean, obviously Tom did a lot to help this team. I mean, you've heard players and the coaches and them speak till they're blue in the face about how much Tom changed this team, how much way he changed their mindset. He changed the culture. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying they had a really good roster in place, and that was because of Jason Light and what he's been able to do over the last few years. Has he had some rough patches? Yeah, we don't even talk about that 2016 draft at all. That's not even a real draft as far as we're concerned. But I do think that he's done a great job so far putting pieces in place so that they were only one quarterback away. And, they just happened to strike gold with Tom Brady wanting to come down here. So do I think they would have made the playoffs? Yeah, I mean, they should have made the playoffs the year before. I mean, they were 7-9, and that was, off of Jameis throwing a bunch of bad picks. Do I think Jameis might have been able to play a little bit better if they slapped the franchise tag on him? Statistically, most quarterbacks do in their second season. And he was at the age where he got the LASIK surgery, and maybe that helps him a little bit. I know a lot of fans don't hate Jameis. A lot of fans do hate Jameis. A lot of fans are, kind of rooting for him to have success. Not success against the Bucs, not success in the division, but some personal success when it doesn't, as long as it doesn't mean anything. And that's fine. I mean, he's a guy who was here for 5 years and kind of got a little bit of a raw deal a few times, but he's also a guy who never really progressed into what he could be. I've been a full-on person saying that Jameis has all the talent in the world if he could ever get it all together. The physical talent's there. It's the mental aspects of the game. Now we'll see if that improved last year, spending behind, with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. We'll see that because he's been named the starter. But, I still think he would have been capable of leading this team to the playoffs. I just don't think a Super Bowl, without Tom Brady happens. But don't misconstrue me saying that, Tom Brady wasn't the only reason why this happened. There was a lot of more on this roster that had to go to it.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Mr. Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. Welcome.
Here we go, Ben. Let's go.
Yours truly, along with JC Allen, a Pewter Report. Go.
Hey, this is Facebook user. How you guys doing?
Yeah, well, you got to click on the link. I mean, when you go into I Love St.
He's not a rookie. He knows Pete.
Right, he knows. You know this. You're just trolling me again, Ben.
Peter.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
I like Facebook user. I like the anonymous.
Well, it's good, Ben. That's
now you just ruined it. Now everyone knows it's Ben.
You're the weirdo of the show. We love you, bro. We love you. What do you got to say?
Not much. I just wanted to see how everyone's doing tonight.
That's
Good
doing
show,
great.
by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I try.
Very nice.
Very nice. I like you. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I'm not.
JC, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Just thriving, surviving, and grinding. Just trying to give you guys the best content we can over here at PR.
You're kicking ass at Pewter Report, man. Good
Appreciate
job.
you.
Absolutely. He is.
Hey, listen, I just want to call real quick. JC, all I'm saying is that, Brady, you're right. He wasn't the only reason, but he was the main reason. Would that be fair to say? I mean, everything just seemed to come in place once we signed him. The culture changed. The players' attitudes changed. Everybody, he just has that aura that people are just attracted to, that makes you want to just, play harder.
Can we say like 60-40? Tom Brady 60-40, or would you want to go higher, 75-25, or 70-30? What percentage would you say was Tom Brady coming here, and what percentage would you say was the roster around him also being put in here, and the coaching staff being able to put a team in the position to succeed?
I would say 60-40.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Right.
I agree with you. I think you're 100% right. But,
major part of it, absolutely. When a quarterback throws for 40 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions, and the year before the quarterback throws for 30 touchdowns 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, not only does that help your offense out, it helps your defense out. And at the end of the day, I think players were ready for a change, and they were also willing to embrace it. And like you said, when Brady walks into that locker room, it's Jordan-esque. You have to respect him. You have to respect the rings. You have to respect him and understand that whatever he says, whatever he's saying at that point, you have to believe in it. So yes, he had a major part in it, but let's not take away from that defense. Remember, that defense did a pretty damn good job versus the Kansas City Chiefs, holding that explosive offense that, by the way, everybody's favoring this year as their Super Bowl favorite to 9 points. Still looking for a touchdown.
I don't know about that. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the Chiefs.
I'm not either. I don't even have in my Super Bowl predictions. But just to comment on Peter real quick, what you said, I mean, is right. But also you got to give it to Tom, because he didn't put the defense in position to,
correct,
to fail as much. He didn't put them in short field situations. He didn't turn the ball over as much, so they weren't on the field as much. They had time to take a breath. I see Bucs Time 12 down in the comments is saying that he disagrees that anything would have been different with one more year, Jameis. And to an extent, I agree, but I think I don't think he throws 30 touchdowns again. And I think the defense was good enough, especially if you draft the same way you drafted Tristan Wirfs. You draft a guy like Antoine Winfield. Even without the additions of Gronk, Leonard Fournette, and AB. I still think that Jameis probably could have got you into the 7th seed of the playoffs last year. I just. I don't think the results would be different. I don't think there'd be a Super Bowl, probably a one and done, but I think at least you would have had a better shot at that.
And I think there's always a mindset with Winston that, look, he had to do it all himself. He had to produce. That offense had to be great because the defense for so many years wasn't. But again, building that defense up, getting it to where it needed to be, where it was somewhat dominant, like it was in the postseason last year. It took a little bit of time, but it was always there. It doesn't help when you're putting your defense in those short fields. It doesn't help at all. And that's what Brady alleviated last year. That's what he got rid of. And that's the reason why they were so successful. So am I saying it's all Tom Brady? No, but the majority of it absolutely is Tom Brady. And that's not a bad thing. Whoever says, well, you bought a championship with Tom Brady. Okay, you not only had that Tom Brady, you had an offensive line to block for him. You had to have Rob Gronkowski. You had to have Antonio Brown. You had to have a defense. You had to have all those components. And then on top of it, you had to do it in a pandemic.
Right. And Peter, real quick, did they say they bought a championship?
Yes. I've heard this on Facebook and Twitter. Yes.
Brady, didn't he restructure his deal?
Correct.
Did he take less money?
Correct.
To get more people in?
Correct.
He did the opposite of Mahomes or Rodgers or Russell Wilson?
I mean, it's not like it's not like basketball where you're recruiting a couple superstars and that made all the difference. You still have to have a complete team. You still have to have everybody that's going to buy into it. And again, you still have to do it without a preseason, basically cut down training camp, a new system. And for them to be 7-5, look, they could have been better than 7-5 at the halfway point. But then after that, they were completely flawless, right?
Yeah, they didn't lose a game since.
They didn't lose a game. So was that all on the strength of Brady? Not necessarily, but was he a big-time part of it? Yes. And somebody asked me, do you have a problem with that? No, it's a Super Bowl. You want to win?
Exactly.
It's a Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Take it to the bank.
I mean, do I think Bridgewater and Winston could have done it? Hell no. What did Bridgewater do with Carolina last year? Not squat.
For the playoffs, I think are realistic expectations. And Ben, while you're on here, I'll just answer your question that's coming up next. I do think Hudson will probably get picked up by somebody. I spoke on this a little bit, right when I came on, but I just think, he's a talented tight end that could definitely be a good receiving option somewhere else. Treated as a number 2, come in. If you have a guy who's a solid blocker, you got him to come in as a move tight end, split end, and I think he'll provide value to another team. If he doesn't get claimed, I don't know if the Bucs, they really want to keep him around anymore. I think we probably will we might see a different tight end that we haven't seen at all on the roster. I mean, Cody McElroy really has not improved as a blocker. Jarrell Adams is he was more camp fodder. They both got special team snaps, but I just don't think that that's what they're looking for. With Gronk leaving next year, I think you're better off trying to develop some guy who can really be a good blocker. You don't really need, if you keep OJ Howard or you got Cam Brate next year with a team option. You have a receiving guy at tight end. You need to develop a blocker, and you don't have that on the roster right now. So I don't know if he'll be back, even if he does claim waivers. But I expect him to get picked up by somebody.
Yeah,
I do too. Because he does have he's good at receiver. Yeah, blocking's not good, but somebody will get him.
Well, sure. I mean, the Giants have
Lions.
a fair share of injuries.
Lions could definitely pick him up.
I mean, you go to Lions. I think anybody can play for the Lions.
One more.
Except for Brashad Perriman. $2 million guaranteed got cut. You got to give it up to the man. You know, he turned a month of football into $10 million guaranteed over a season. You know, you got to give it to the guy.
Right, and I guarantee you. Well, there you go. I mean, let's get his agent. Because his agent basically sold those teams on that year, which, you know, consequently, you give credit to where credit is due, that offense. And, of course, Jameis Winston getting him the ball. After that, like I've said before, when Perryman left, the grass isn't greener on the other side, but money is green, and he liked it. So he got it, and now he's in a situation where, he can't even play for the Lions. So,
hey, I got one more question real quick.
Yes.
Please, is Ryan Griffin going to be cut? I hope
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't even finish your sentence. Yes.
Go, so it's just yes. There's
practice squad maybe, but yes, definitely.
Okay. So there you go.
not even
Ryan
practice
Griffin.
squad. Don't waste a spot on that.
Okay.
So,
I don't think so either, but I don't think you should either. But yeah, I mean, he'll be back. The coaching staff loves him. He's like having another coach on the field, on the sideline. They'll bring him back most likely.
what did Arians do? I mean, does he have pictures or something of Bruce? Or
Well, I think he's a guy that knows the offense, but also he's the guy that helped Tom Brady when
he's the wingman.
He's the wingman. I mean, can you keep him on the roster? Can you bring him back in a situation if you got an outbreak with COVID? Certainly, you could. What am I screaming for you? We're in the library now.
I'll take my chances with Evans being the quarterback if it's an emergency situation.
Oh, geez. You know what? Yeah, I'll give it to you. That was pretty funny. All right, Ben Cornett. What else? Anything else?
No, sir. I just wanted to call you. And like I said, JC, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a great job. And
appreciate it.
You're, as always, man, doing great stuff.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. You know, we do this for fans like yourself, Ben. And even though you troll me sometimes, man, I love you when you're on the show. So just keep on tuning in. All right.
Well, I love calling in, guys. Take care. Okay.
All right. Definitely do it more. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what it's all about, JC. It's all about fan interaction on the evolution of sports talk television. And what is the evolution? You can text in, you can call in. So definitely use the phone line 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391.
Make sure you do three things for Peter. Make sure you do three things when you come on the show. Bring the passion, bring the excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense.
Oh, very good there. Mister. Very good. You learned, my friend. You learned. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you. Good stuff, man. All right, let's read these comments, and then we'll get you out of here for the night. Bucs time 12, JCA. Do you think Vaughn did enough this offseason? I think he kind of took a little bit of a step back, some fumbling problems on Saturday night. I mean, what did you see training camp in these preseason situations?
For me, and I'm a Vaughn guy. The first article I ever wrote, the first time I ever came on the show was speaking about Keyshawn Vaughn. He didn't do enough for me. But I'm not the coach. Bruce Arians said he thought he was fine as a runner, thought he was, great as a gunner, and, said that, as a returner, he needs some work. He looks like a running back trying to find a hole out there. But Bruce is a guy who makes a call. They're really high on this guy coming out of the draft. They had a second round grade on him the year prior. He was running behind a really bad offensive line. You look at they really struggled out there. They had a tackle playing guard. You still had Aaron Stinney out there. You got a guy like Robert Haynes who's still learning how, and you could saw some of the breakdowns on the offensive line when he was running the ball. But just throughout the course of the preseason, I wish he would have got a couple looks with the first team, but the first team obviously wasn't out there enough. I think he'll get involved in it. The fumbles are an issue, but again, I'm not the guy who's making the decisions. I don't think that you could just cut the guy without a replacement in the works, and you don't. CJ Procise is not the guy. Maybe they look for someone on the to throw in the practice squad, or maybe there's a guy out there that on waivers that they think can replace him. But I don't know. I think he'll be given more of a shot. Like I said, as a gunner, they like what he's doing as a gunner, and special teams is a big factor for this team. They have not improved, as you can tell, with 2 block kicks and just missed coverage assignments and blocking assignments. So I think he sticks around. And it's for a guy who's not going to see a lot of snaps, it's a put up or shut up year this year. If he doesn't improve, if you can't, when his number's called, if you can't hold on to the ball, catch the ball, find some open space when he's running it, because he probably will get into game situations a few times and he's not going to be on the roster next year. And then they're really screwed because they have 0 running backs on the roster.
Yeah, you're exactly right. All right, let's go. And that question for Tanner Hudson was from David. We already asked that already. The Tanner Hudson question, Bucs time 12. All right. Again, why did we cut Hamilton? I think it comes down to 2 words. D. Delaney, right?
Yeah, D. Delaney definitely impressed, which was shocking to me because I was like, D. Delaney, this guy will be cut by the first round, and he's really turned it on the last 2 weeks. He's kind of came out of nowhere. The biggest reason Antonio Hamilton didn't make this team because he was really good. He was on first team special teams. He's a guy who's been in the league for 5 years. He looked good in practice. He looked good in games. He did some little things that don't show up on tape. He blew up a complete a run game to allow them to stop them for a big game, and he did a lot of good things. The problem is he's an inside corner, and Bruce feels like they have too many inside corners on the roster, so they wanted an outside guy, and that's what D. Delaney is. Now I think it's pretty safe to say that D. Delaney is going to make this team, although Herb Miller also had an interception in a pretty good game, a year in the system. Talked to D. Delaney today. He still doesn't know. I mean, that's the thing. When you get cut, you don't know when you make the team until things happen. So, he's still not 100% sure that he's made the team yet. But that's pretty much why Hamilton was cut, because he was more of an inside guy than an outside guy. And D. Delaney showed up, got a special team tackle, obviously the 2 picks, led the team in tackles, and played, pretty much wire to wire in that game after the starters went out.
In your opinion, who's more likely to get cut? Is it Herb Miller, who we've heard BA talk about and say, look, he hasn't put enough out there on tape for me to really keep him, but of course he had an interception. He's shown some flashes of brilliance. Or do you think of Delaney, who's had a very good 2 consecutive weeks and, of course, training camp?
I mean, I think it's D. Delaney, but, a guy who's had multiple good weeks of training camp and games, was Javon Hagan. He got released. So nothing surprises me with this coaching staff. Maybe they'll find someone else. I mean, they're probably actively working the phones right now, seeing if they can swap guys for picks or swap players for players or et cetera. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes right now on who to cut. We heard the first wave, and nothing would surprise me, but at this point, I think D. Delaney is probably going to make the roster.
I think he is too. All right, let's go out to Ben Cornett again. I believe he wasn't the only reason, but he was the main reason.
We talked about that.
This franchise. Tom is a once-in-a-generation type of pro athlete. Bucs time 12, I have to disagree that anything would have been different with one more year of Jameis. Bucs time 12 again. Saints will be looking for a quarterback next year, in my opinion. Agree? Tough to say, right? I mean, Sean Payton done wonders with quarterbacks. I mean, if he can get Winston to cut down on those turnovers, but the problem is, who are you throwing to in that offense at this point? I get it. Look, you can do it against the Jacksonville Jaguars in that, just a guy defense, because that's what it is. A just a guy defense, no Jalen Ramsey. But if you do it against the rest of the NFL, I don't know how successful he's going to be. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on a multitude of factors, right? They don't have wide receivers. Does he play well, without the wide receivers? When Michael Thomas comes back, who's more of a slant underneath guy, and that's not really Jameis's strong point. Does that kick off? Also, say Jameis does play good. What are his contract demands, Does he feel some sort of loyalty to a guy who brought his career back? I don't know. They could be, might not be. It's too early to say. I need to see a couple games first.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll be watching. I'll be seeing it. I'll be looking at it and see if he can, cut down on it. That's my opinion. I think people either want to pick offense or defense, but the Bucs won the Super Bowl with a full team effort. Absolutely. Love it. Bucs time 12. Good comment as always. Cut down pickups, tight end, running back, cornerback, offensive lineman. I seen something from another Bucs outlet, and they said Marvin Wilson, who got a big time it's like a signing contract, of course, from Florida State defensive lineman. Could you see the Bucs picking up somebody like that? Somebody surprise you that they pick up, that they actually cut on this team tomorrow? Of course, the deadline is 4:00 tomorrow afternoon.
Possibly, but I mean, you had 2 7th-round picks that were near the end of the 7th round. I didn't use either of them on him. You know, when he was projected as a 4th-round pick, if he came out the year before, probably a 1st-round pick. So, you know, I doubt it. I think they like their defensive tackle group as far as the youth goes right now. But definitely could be a guy that they're not going to claim him off waivers. So let's get that straight. You know, if you claim a guy off waivers, he goes onto your 53. So they're not going to claim – if they claim someone off waivers, they have plans on keeping him around for the first – 3 weeks of the season, because that's when you can cut the players and then try to get them back in your practice squad. So as far as pickups after guys who go through waivers, he's a potential guy. Tight end, like I just said, a guy who's a better blocker. Definitely think they'll pick up a running back. Definitely think they'll pick up an offensive lineman, probably a center, maybe a true center, or maybe a tackle. You have John Molchin, who probably will go back in the practice squad. I'm not sure what his health is at right now, but he's taken a lot of snaps at center, played the entire second game, looked all right in it. So maybe that's a guy you want to keep evaluating. I think Earl Watford's a good bet to make the practice squad as well. Guy who can play all the positions. That's a great guy to bring up in a pinch if you need. And then I think probably, a tackle, is the best bet for them. As far as cornerback, I don't think so. Maybe you bring Chris Wilcox back. Maybe you get Antino Hamilton on the practice squad, or Herb Miller. I think they have plenty of bodies they can put on the practice squad at cornerback from their own roster. I'm looking at inside linebacker, outside linebacker. And I'm also looking at those spots to potentially claim players too. I think that they definitely want to probably keep Cam Gill around. Mm-hmm. And, maybe we'll see a guy like Steve McClendon, or, one of these vested veterans who are on the roster. A wink nod, hey, we might bring you back. Or I could even see Steve McClendon not being brought in at all, wow. just released outright. Jeremiah Ledbetter's looked really good, and if you're going to keep 6 defensive linemen, you want to keep Pat O'Connor. Do you want to keep Khalil Davis, or do you want to keep the 35-year-old McClendon? If you want to keep 7, do you want to keep Jeremiah Ledbetter, who's come on, or do you want to keep the 35-year-old McClendon, who's going to give you maybe 20 snaps a game, if that, unless there's an injury? So that's an area I'm watching, but I think if they're going to pick up waiver claims, it's probably going to be at inside and outside linebacker. That's where I'm looking at. Or potentially safety as well. Those are the 3 spots I'm looking at for waiver claims.
Good stuff. And Khalil Davis, of course, with the fumble recovery after Tryon with the sack. And, we've heard from a coach here, a pass rushing specialist, how high he is on Khalil Davis, how he thinks the world of him. And you got to think with the effort that he has, and of course Nacho, that defensive line is pretty much set. So is it a surprise that McClendon could get cut because of his age? Not at all.
And I mean, there's a reason why he didn't play at all on Saturday, right?
Right.
If he would have gotten hurt, his whole almost $1 million salary would have been guaranteed for the year.
Wow.
So, that's something. Also, again, for people who don't know, veteran players, when you sign them to deals, if you sign them before week 1 and they get injured on week 1 or thereafter, then you owe them their money for the entire year. After week 1, you can cut them without paying their entire salary. So a lot of teams you'll see, the Patriots used to do it a lot, is it release guys, bring them back after week 1, the older veteran guys. That way, if something happened throughout the year, they weren't tied up with all that money. They could release them. So that's another thing. Steve McClendon could be back after week 1 or there's like I said, they have a lot of avenues. They are very smart in the front office with Davidson, Greenberg, and Light, and I trust them to the fullest on building this roster together with BA.
Absolutely agree. All right, we'll read the rest of these comments. We'll get you out of here. Really quick, though. Surprised that Kappa earned the starting job, and you talked about Hansey. A little bit rough there on Saturday night. Coaching staff not too happy with Hansey, right?
No, as far as Kappa, I never believed it for a second. Aaron Stinney never took any first-team reps. So, how can a guy be in competition if the guy's not even going to get first-team reps with the first team? So I never believed that at all. As far as Hansey goes, first time ever playing the position. First time he even tried to play the position was in January. I'm not worried about him. He'll get it down. I think if he would have played the first 2 games, he probably would have looked a little bit better by that 3rd game. But I'm not worried about Hansey in the slightest. I think he'll get it down. He's a pro. He's a Notre Dame lineman. Those guys are really good, great coaching over there. He's getting some amazing coaching here. He's got literally 3 guys on the offensive line coaching him. So, plus, Ryan Jensen, Ali Marpet, again, who played a year at center with Dirk Carter. I think he's in good hands, learning the position, getting it down, live game action. It's a little bit different from playing right tackle when you're all alone on the island to playing in a phone booth at center. So I'm not worried about him. He'll get it down hopefully by next year, and they'll be able to make that decision whether they want to bring Ryan Jensen back or they think Haynes is going to be the guy to go with the future. But rough start, But the funny thing is that first game we saw John Moultrie go wire to wire at center. The second game we saw Nick Leverett go wire to wire at center. The third game we saw Robert Hainsey pretty much go wire to wire at center, and it was all three of those guys' first time snapping in a game ever. So, if you want to compare all three of them, I think probably Moultrie did the best job, Leverett, and then Hainsey. But again, I mean, this is what you're getting when you're playing preseason games and you got a second team offensive line who's never played the position before. I'm not worried about it.
Because of Leverett's versatility, has he earned a spot on this team, in your opinion?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
As far as they haven't heard anything, so that's always a good thing, unless we've got what?
We've had this guy on the show before last year. I mean, it's crazy how many players we've actually had on this show that now could be some contributing factors. And, talk about Nick Leverett, not only playing multiple guard positions, but you said play some tackle. And they love that. They love that. If you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer offensive lineman, they love you to play multiple positions. So I think he's made it.
They're calling the mini or Earl Watford Jr., Earl Watford Light, or mini Earl Watford, because he could play all the lines. First game he played left tackle. Second game he played center. Third game he was slotted to go back to his guard position, but obviously came down on that COVID-19 list. Looks like he's fine. He's going to be off of that if he's not already off of that. But yeah, I mean, the more you can do obviously helps you in the chance to win a roster spot, especially if you're the back of the roster guy. So I think he's done enough. I think the coaching staff probably feels like he's done enough. And, with the rash of injuries in training camp, there's no way they don't keep, in my mind, 9 linemen.
All right, good stuff there. Let's go back out to the comments. Christopher Cole says, if we would have signed Winston,
great point.
We would have not re-signed some defensive players. Although, look, he didn't get a big-time contract from the Saints, but the kind of numbers that were being bandied about at that point and the way the quarterback market is, he may have a point there.
Well, JPP and Sue already said they weren't coming back if Winston was. The reason why they came was because Brady was here. So, I mean, you've already proven that point right there. So
wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Go ahead and say that again for the people out there that you didn't hear it in the back. I
said JPP and Ndamukong Suh already said that they were not coming back if Jameis Winston was the quarterback. So they really only re-signed because Tom Brady was brought in. I don't even know if they would have re-signed if Teddy Bridgewater was here. So, wow.
And then you don't get Gronkowski and Antonio Brown. Hello?
Yeah, Leonard Fournette.
Hello? Hello? Anybody there? Anybody there? Anybody there? All right, good stuff, Christopher Cole. I believe this is David Moser here. Also, what are we doing at the running back? How many do you think we're going to keep going there? You said it best. I mean, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Giovanni Bernard, Keyshawn Vaughn, and then after that, that's it.
Practice squad guy.
Yeah.
You'll bring someone in the practice squad. That's it. I mean, you have 3 studs. You don't need to load that room up with and what if happens, You've got 3 capable runners, and it's very unlikely that you lose all 3 runners next season.
All right, I know you got to go here. We got 2 studs right now in the room. Yours truly, along with J.C. Allen. I've got to say that. And who do you think is going to be the opposite of Winfield Jr.?
It's going to be Whitehead most likely. If he's ready to go, it's Whitehead. If not, Edwards will step in, and I feel like he'll perform fine. It just changes a little bit what you do on defense because, Edwards is more of a ball hawker. He's not quite the enforcer that Whitehead is, but I trust them. I trust Bowles to put this defense in a position to succeed. And obviously he's been getting a lot of reps at that second safety spot anyways with Whitehead out. So, and Antoine Winfield gives you a little bit of position flexibility as well. They'll make it work. I'm not worried about it.
All right, good stuff. J.C. Allen makes it work here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television live on NSPN. I Love St. Pete. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter at JCAllenNFL. Find all of my work on pewterreport.com. I got a bunch of articles out. We're pumping out articles. Guys, go over there. We've got great breakdown of roster cut day. Our podcasts are great. We're going over. We got some good surprises with some guests this week. I'm going to be a busy man. Not only am I doing the sports web, not only am I doing some radio spots, I'm also doing like 5+ Cowboys podcasts. Keep updated to my Twitter page so you guys can jump on and listen there, kind of go behind enemy lines and break down what they got to be scared of when they play this Buccaneers team. Other than that, again, Twitter, ask me anything, slide into my DMs. You got questions about the Bucs, I'll answer them the best I can. The other day before the game, I did an AMA. I'm always putting out great content. It's the one-stop shop for all Bucs information, whether it's our articles, whether it's posts from the Bucs, PFF, things around the players are posting. It's the spot to be. At JC Allen NFL. Go follow me there.
Good stuff. JC Allen, a Pewter Report. I got this for you.
High five.
There you go. High five. I like
very
you.
nice.
Very nice. How much? All right, buddy. See you later.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. There you go. Good stuff there from JC Allen of the Pewter Report. Let's go out to Sandra Nagel, my agent, and of course, my beautiful mother. Congratulations. Watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with NSPN. I love St. Pete. Doing great as always. Appreciate you, but you are biased. But I appreciate that because your check is in the mail, Mom. Give Jameis a break. He came to the Bucs as a losing organization. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you with the draft picks and everything like that. I understand the different coaches. We've talked about it. I'm giving him a break. I've been a defender, but at the end of the day, he turned over the ball a lot. He put the defense in some bad situations. Did he always have a running game? Maybe not. And you know what? We've turned the page. I think we've turned the page as a Buccaneer fan base. And if he does well with the Saints, great. I don't have any problem with it. There's no ill will. I'm not hoping the guy fails for the Saints. Am I hoping he does well against the Bucs? Of course not. But if he does, good for him. Good for the Saints. Good for Sean Payton. It wouldn't shock me. One of my biggest fears of losing a Jameis Winston was what? That he could go somewhere else and win another Super Bowl. Why? Because he's talented. He's not a bum. I mean, don't listen to the Facebook hacks. Shouldn't say that because I'm on Facebook myself. I'm not a hack, but there are hacks out there. Oh, he's a bum. Come on. Give him some credit. Guy can make throws. Guy can make plays. He won some games with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's give it to him. Do I want to see him win with the Saints? Of course not. But could he? Yes. Have other quarterbacks in the Bucs history gone somewhere else and won Super Bowls? Of course they have. Steve Young, hello. Doug Williams, hello. Trent Dilfer, hello. Vinny Testaverde didn't win a Super Bowl, but led the Jets to the AFC Championship game. Chris Chandler, yep. He led the Falcons to a Super Bowl. Lose. So other quarterbacks that have left this Buccaneer organization have had success. Why would that surprise me? It's happened. It most likely is going to happen again. Hopefully it doesn't in this time period. JC is the busiest guy in the biz. He's awesome, man. Love that guy. Love that guy. Guy's done a great job. He's worked his ass off. And yeah, I'll take a little credit for it because he did start out here on the sports web. But you know what? That guy busts his ass every day. 2 kids. The work you put in is what you get out of it. Nobody gives you anything in this life. You have to earn it. I know you've heard it before. You got to earn it. You want to be the best sports talk show on a platform? You earn it. You stack shows up every day, every night. You do research. You think I just turn on this mic and say, you know what? I'm going to talk about absolutely nothing tonight, and everybody's going to love it. Hell no. If I did that, I would fail. You have to have preparation. as my father would say, as he's shaking his head right now, because he would say, I didn't say that. He did. You got to be prepared. More preparation leads to less perspiration. And you know what I'm talking about, guys. If you're not prepared, you're sweating your ass off. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to see that on camera. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web live here on NSPN. And of course, I Love St. Pete. Troy Polamalu. If it's not by Adam Schefter, it's fake NFL news. Look at this. Tom Peso. There are regular season playoff and Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that prefer Brady, a ring collector. I agree. You got a great problem here with the Bucs. It's not a problem. It's a problem for the NFL. Oh, when's Trask going to start? Who gives a damn? Hopefully he develops. He gets an opportunity to develop under the greatest quarterback of all time. He gets the opportunity to develop under Clyde Christensen, who, by the way, worked with the Peyton Manning. He gets the opportunity to develop under the quarterback whisperer and a Bruce Arians, who worked with Peyton Manning, who worked with Ben Roethlisberger, who worked with Andrew Luck. Not a bad situation. Stop rushing it. It's almost like the kid trying to grow up. I want to grow up. Oh, yeah? You want to grow up? You want to pay bills? You want to drive a car? You want to pay for gas? You want to have to worry about a family? Stay a kid. Let it marinate, if you will, as the kids would say. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. Sports Web forever. I will never sell out. I love you, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Friday night we'll have Dennis Phillips of ABC Action News. Hopefully, we'll be talking about your fantasy football teams. I do care. I hate when sports broadcasters say, I don't care about your fantasy football team. I do care. You know why? Because I have a fantasy football team. So we'll talk with Dennis Phillips. We'll get other guests on 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Want to play this clip from Brian Baldinger of NFL Network on what Mr. Donovan Smith did the other night. And I get it. It's preseason. But I think it will be interesting to see here on the evolution of sports talk television. Here we go.
Part of the fun of training camp is being able to learn and try new things. Let's watch this one-on-one matchup. Whitney Merciless, Donovan Smith. Let's watch Donovan Smith working on some new techniques. Watch this right here. Watch this as Merciless goes to stab. All right? He goes to stab. Watch Donovan. Bam. Now, when you sit on the outside pass rusher, it makes it incredibly easy for Brady to make this throw on timing to Mike Evans. Let's just go back and watch this again. This is just a thing of beauty. This is just offensive line, trenches, bam. Get him down. 2-point takedown. All right? Keep him down. Give Brady the lane to throw it through. Love it, Donovan. Try new things. You know, that's what training camp is about. It's what preseason is about.
There you go. That was Brian Baldinger of the NFL Network. So all the people saying, Donovan Smith, his play is garbage. Watch that right there. Tape don't lie. And if he was garbage last year, they wouldn't have re-signed him. So he's starting to develop. I like that. I like those kind of breakdowns, and we'll have more of that here on the Sports Web. Of course, the great Blake Anthony. How good was that on Saturday? Did you like that? You want to see more of that? Let's go ahead and get a feel of what the NSPN watch parties are all about here. Let's go out to, of course, this clip here, which is me riling up the crowd, and a reason why you should get out to Ducky Sports Lounge, 1719 West Kennedy Boulevard, not Avenue, West Kennedy Boulevard. Here's a clip. So we're live here at Ducky's in Tampa.
In Tampa.
Can I get a Tampa Bay? Can we get Tampa? Tampa! Tampa! There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Again,
does that feel good?
It does. It feels good to be the maestro of the show.
Really? So you feel like maestro, like Beethoven?
I feel like it. Yeah, sometimes I do. Try to direct everybody around. Yeah.
So you're trying to be a commentary quarterback then.
I'm trying to be. I'm what am I, an armchair quarterback right now?
And he's good at it.
I try again. All right, so there you go. That's what you get. You come out there. You're not just sitting there filling your gullet with wings, although you could. If you're a Bucs fan, I want you involved. I'm not scared of interaction. I'm not scared of trolls. I'm not scared of you saying something stupid because sometimes I say things stupid. But guess what? I am the maestro because I could do this. Shut up! Or I could do this. And guess what? At the end of the night, we'll all be friends. Or you can get on and be a fan. It's okay to be a fan. We need more fans in sports these days. Too much negativity, not enough positivity. I swear to God, so many people negative. Take a phone call for 2 minutes, hang up on somebody. What the hell is that? Waited for 30 minutes to talk to somebody. What is that all about? Fans are the lifeblood of sports talk television, sports talk radio, in my opinion. And you have an opportunity to get out to Ducky Sports Lounge, 1719 West Kennedy Boulevard. And by the way, if I'm giving you directions, you may want to have a GPS. Just saying. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to some other things here. When you come out there, not only, well, hold on. Let's hold on with that clip. Let's go ahead and go out to the phone lines. Another great thing about the Sports Web, you can call in twice. Let's go out to Ed from Clearwater. Welcome, Ed. What do you have to say using your second call?
Actually, it's not Clearwater. It's Palm Harbor.
Oh,
anyways.
Palm Harbor. Ed from Palm Harbor. Are you happy now? Okay, you're close to Clearwater. You're only about 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna definitely come out to Ducky's, man, on your birthday, man. What would you like for your birthday besides me being there with you?
Oh man, you don't have to get me anything for my birthday. Just come out there and show yourself, man. Just show yourself. That's all.
All right, I'll buy you a drink or something, man. I'll buy you some wings.
I'm not a big time drinker. You can buy me some wings. How about that?
I'll buy you a shot of Jameson whiskey. How's that?
I'm not a drinker, man. What did you not hear? I'm not a drinker. I don't drink.
I would love to see you try to do this
show. Of course you would. You love to see me do the show. You damn troll bag? Of course you would. Of course you would. Shut up! I don't get drunk on air. Come on.
The reason why I called you back is because you kind of cut me off. I wanted to talk about.
My bad.
I wanted to talk. I actually wanted to talk about Donovan Smith.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you showed that because that reminded me what he actually showed a lot more during preseason. Now, granted, it's preseason, but he's given me hope.
Well, didn't you have hope last year? Didn't you have hope last year? I mean, I know he had a couple of tough games.
Of the year,
right?
He looked horrible.
Right.
But when we got to the playoffs, he played okay.
Okay.
But yeah, in the beginning of the year last year, he looked horrible. I mean, you were complaining about him too. You know.
Sure,
I'm
saying, fair.
Oh, I don't want to keep seeing him do this Olay stuff. I mean, what the heck is that? You know?
Yeah, you can't be you can't be a moving turnstile. That's what I think I said. Yeah. I'm going to be critical. I'm critical.
So what do you think about his preseason?
I think, just seeing that clip right there, definitely. But you saw that last year with him. You saw BA talk about him and how, he's trying to basically beat the hell out of somebody instead of, practice that proper technique, if you will. And sometimes he loses technique, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So I think that improved last year. He's improving as a left tackle. You didn't hear his name a lot, which is a good thing. And that offensive line absolutely came together. And that was one of the main reasons, besides a Tom Brady, what was the big time question mark in 2020? What's the big time question mark, Ed, in 2021? Offensive line. Got to protect your quarterback. Let's help our quarterback out. We got a 44-year-old.
I have another.
Go ahead.
I have another question mark.
Go ahead.
I have a punt returner. Who's going to solidify that job, and who is going to be the breakout guy that gets it done this year? Because it didn't get done very well last year.
That's a great question. I can't tell you that. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be Jalen Darden, but I don't know. Jaden Mickens still may be on this team. We'll know tomorrow, won't we? Because the deadline is at 4:00 to get this roster down to 53. So I would hope it's Jalen Darden with his speed and with the opportunity that he's got. But, you know, you saw in the second game, wasn't great.
They got to improve there, man.
Special teams, big time thing they want to improve on. They absolutely want to improve on. You know, they improved on the field goal kicking last year, 90% from Ryan Suckup, who didn't get a chance to kick in the last game, but will be kicking for this team. You can be sure of that. But on top of it, you would like some punt returns. You would like some kick return opportunities to put your offense in a better situation, right? You cut down that field. You know, it's all three phases of the game, Matt. It's offense, it's defense, it's special teams. If you're lacking on one of those, it's going to come back and bite you in your ass, right?
Bite you, because what teams are going to start doing is they're going to pin us down deep every time and try to make us go full complete field. That's what's going to happen. And the Texans actually tried to do that a few times. Didn't work out for them, but they tried to. But and the other thing is I totally missed the whole Jordan Whitehead thing. I know he got a torn labrum last year, but that was last year. What's going on with him now?
Yeah, same, dealing with the same type of injury. So they've been very careful with him. And word is that he'll play on September 9th, and that's all you can hope for. If not, then, you know, the Bucs will be in that situation where, you know, they may have to play a Ross Cockrell, who's played well at the safety position. It's been one of the main stories in training camp, and a lot of the reason why I think Javon Hagen's not on this team.
Why don't they give Edwards a shot? I mean,
I think Edwards is definitely in the mix. I definitely think he's in the mix.
It could be a ball hawk, man.
Sure.
I've seen him pick off some balls.
I think Edwards is definitely in the mix. He's a guy that does make lots of plays. We made it in the postseason last year, a high draft pick. So absolutely. And they may employ some 3 safety sets. So you may see 3 safeties on the field. I mean, Todd Bowles is going to get even more creative. Just imagine, Ed, Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to have a second year. He had a full preseason, a full training camp, and he's able to comprehend this defense even more. You've got to feel like this defense is going to be even better than they were last year.
I think he's going to have a great season. I really do. I really like that kid too. He's really good.
Okay. All right. What else?
But as far as back to Donovan Smith.
Sure.
The guy is a giant. All he's got to do is just get in front of somebody and fall on them, and he's done a good job.
Sure.
You know, I don't know why he's having such trouble. I don't know.
Well, it didn't have a lot of trouble last year. I mean, early on, but after that, you didn't hear a peep out of him. And it goes back to technique. If he's got his technique down, you're also helping him out. You helped out with Rob Gronkowski. How big of a move was getting a Gronkowski at that tight end position to basically be another left tackle? So when against a guy like a Chase Young, you didn't necessarily have to put Donovan Smith on the island. You had Gronkowski go in there and take care of business. How big of a move was that? And when people say,
big.
well, you wouldn't have got
people were complaining about it.
Right. But I mean, it's like, if you don't get a Tom Brady, then you don't get a Rob Gronkowski. I mean, that's a major move that people are just kind of undervaluing, and it's just ridiculous.
Oh, people were complaining that they were keeping the Gronk in the block.
Yeah.
It was actually a good move.
It's a great move. You know? It's a great move, especially if you want to run the ball, if you want to pound the ball, or also you want to go max protect and help your quarterback out. Absolutely it is.
And I really liked what he said when the media asked him about him not getting any routes, and a lot of the times, and they're like, "Oh, I was brought here to block."
Well,
you know?
I mean, we know that was not true, right?
No, but it's not true. But I mean, he's going to support his coach.
Sure, of course. I mean, again, it's a lot of the stuff they say, and even Tom Brady admitted to this on the Shop with LeBron James, that 90% of the stuff he says in a press conference is not true. It's BS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gamemanship at this point. I mean, that's what it's all about, Ed. What else? Anything else? Yes.
So how old are you going to be now?
I'm going to be 43, but I feel like I'm 23.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, I'm pretty.
You know what? I'm almost 10 years older than you, and I have no gray hair. How did you get all that gray hair, man?
Wisdom, my friend, or lots of stress in life. All right. So on that note, I'm going to say this right here.
Shut up!
All right, Ted. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you, boss.
Thanks.
All right, good stuff. Open phone line. How did I get all this gray here? From dealing with fans like you.
Shut up!
727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about live here on NSPN. And, of course, I love St. Pete. All right, so let's go out to some other clips here. I believe this is a food tasting because we were kind of tasting the food. It's another reason why you get out to Ducky's. Here we go. Let's review. You ready? You're going to review?
We're going to review.
Okay, this is what you do here before the halftime show. This is the chicken strips here from Ducky's. Thank you very much. Here on NSPN. All right. Oh. Okay.
I only got one thing to say. I've got a problem. That nobody told me how damn good these wings was going to be.
Well, then we both got a problem because you know I'm a big fan of wings. Those chicken strips are good too. Love you, Duckies. Good job. All right, good stuff there. And then there's another incentive besides the food and, of course, the atmosphere. How about longtime fan? Well, I'll just let me go ahead and take it away here. So here we go. And we got one more, and we'll wrap it up here.
You want to read that one?
Olga Coppin. Olga, come on down.
To the presses, to NSPN, excuse me.
NSPN Watch Party makes dreams come true here at Live at Ducky's. Olga Coppin, come on down.
Come down front. Come to the press.
If you're a Bucs fan, you're on Facebook, you know this lady. She's a big-time Bucs fan. Yes.
You got to know this
In fact,
lady.
I feel like she should get on camera. Get her on camera
This
here.
is an OG to the game right
Yes.
here.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. There you go. There it is right there. You're going to say hi really quick?
I can't see her from there.
You got to get on the camera right here. Come on. Come on. Coming back. Come on.
Don't be shy.
There you go. You got a football right there. Let's go ahead and show that off. See, this is what
That's
happens
a Super Bowl champion.
when you come out to Ducky's Sports Bar, 1719 West Kennedy Boulevard, right there. There you go. Right there. All right.
Thank you.
So again, start of the third quarter. We'll see what happens here. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning 16-2. This is NSPN Next Gen Sports Media. There you go. So there's always incentive to come out to these watch parties. Just highlighting it. I had fun on Saturday and looking forward throughout the season to do these NSPN watch parties with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49 and the rest of the crew. Jason Powers, Travis Faley, possibly a Jamal Sanders. Who knows? You just never know. Keep on tuning in here. Let's go out to Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. Brian Hoyer had time to develop under Brady, and he's still bum trash quarterback. Easy now. I'll bring you some ladies. Do you like big girls? You know what? Enough of you tonight. All right? Definitely come out if you want to. With that being said, let's go around the NFL for some news and notes, and then we will get out of here for the night for your Victory Monday edition of the Sports Web. I don't care if it's preseason again. Of course, we talked about the Deshaun Watson. From Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald reports the Dolphins remain intrigued by the possibility of trading for Watson. However, I feel like I should do a Stephen A. Smith impression. Jackson says the Dolphins aren't willing to give the Texans what they want. Reportedly 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. Oops. I wouldn't either if I'm the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I get it. If Watson doesn't have the off-the-field stuff, there's no threat of him being suspended. Yes, he's an upgrade over Tua, in my opinion. Absolutely. His body of work speaks for itself. But you got a defense intact. You've done a good job with your draft picks. Why take the chance with the guy that you don't even know is going to play? Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars traded Gardner Minshew. Yes, the mustache, the guy that loves to talk about not taking a number 2. Maybe you should, because now you're number 3. He was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jacksonville gets a 6th-round pick. Minshew in his 2 years for the Jaguars, 37 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. We talked about Alex Kappa being the starter. We talked about the protocols, not going to get into that. The Jets made a trade. Of course, they've been struck by injuries, losing a Carl Lawson. They got Shaq Lawson. No, there is no, they're not related. No relation, excuse me. The Jets traded a 6th-round draft pick to the Texans for Shaq Lawson. We'll see if he can help their pass rush out. Of course, devastating news if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. J.K. Dobbins went out with a torn ACL. He is now on the IR. So disappointing. Of course, the Ravens will have to go with what they have. And we'll see what that is. And maybe it may lend more opportunities for Lamar Jackson to run the ball, although he already does that. You have Gus Edwards there, plenty of other running backs. Looks like Trey Lance for the San Francisco 49ers, according to Kyle Shanahan, revealed Monday that the rookie quarterback has a small chip in a finger. Shanahan would not say which finger or which hand. I'm not going to get into which finger it is. It's one of his 5. Great. Presumably, based on the coach's quote, it's Lance's throwing hand. So the question is, will he be ready for September 12th versus the Lions? It's all right now. Looks like that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter. But of course, the 49ers and Shanahan may have different packages for Lance to be in to basically trick the defense, if you will, make the defense account. So he'll get an opportunity possibly to play. A lot of people believe eventually, whether Garoppolo gets hurt or not, that Trey Lance is going to be a starter. Of course, he is the future of the San Francisco 49ers. Malcolm Butler, who, by the way, was a part of one of the worst plays in football history, sports history, not because Butler makes the interception, but the call by Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, he intercepts Russell Wilson at the goal line, is looking to retire. Butler signed a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million with the Cardinals this offseason after the Titans released him. Of course, he was supposed to take over for the departed Patrick Peterson, who went to the Minnesota Vikings. So that's it for Around the NFL Notes. We're going to wrap it up here. Let's read the rest of these comments, and then we will get you out of here. Merry Christmas, Peter. Merry Christmas to you. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thanks to all the guests. Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former Coach Scott, and now media member of Night Sports Productions at Sports Mag. And, of course, J.C. Allen of Pewter Report. Definitely tune in Friday, or you never know. Just keep on tuning in here to NSPN. And, of course, I Love St. Pete. And do 3 things for me on this Victory Monday. I get it's preseason, but don't kill my buzz. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. See you on Friday on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Have a good night.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.